Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
There we are. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday Eve, if you will. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. The men in green, the men in army green. Look at you, color coordinated. Unbelievable. Mickey Mouse, I like it. And Barrett got the sharp golf shirt on. You guys are looking good. Derek Gunn and Barrett Brooks.
Real simple today. That's all, man. Real simple today. What you guys got going on, man?
I'm hurting, boys.
Uh-oh.
Why? What's up?
So last night, I don't know why, but the inner competitiveness in me decides to play some half-court outdoor basketball with a bunch of friends of mine from church. Every Wednesday night, we have a community night.
Here we go.
You know, hot dogs and stuff. And, we had a couple hundred people. So the senior pastor, somehow finagles me into playing half-court basketball. We play 5-on-5, right? Play to 7. Play to 1 by set up to 7. I haven't played half-court basketball 7-8 years. Okay. So I get out there, first game. I'm telling you, my legs are like in quicksand. I can't move. I have no lateral movement. My dribble game is off.
Did you stretch at least before you played?
No.
Oh,
just hey Gunner, come on over here. I'm like, oh man, what? Oh, okay. So I get out there, play one game. Then they got to run it back. So we got to play another game. Now, I will say my jumper was on. I hit 3 J's, so my left-handed jumper was on.
Okay.
Here's the most embarrassing aspect of it. The senior pastor's daughter, who's in her 20s, 24, 25, I sat down low in the post. She came up behind me and elbowed me out the way.
Ooh.
I was like, she out-muscled me underneath. I looked at her and said, oh, heck no. So I grabbed her and put her in a headlock.
Oh, jeez. You're going to get locked up, man.
No, she's good. They're good people.
Okay.
But I woke up this morning. There are muscles in the body I never knew existed. Butt muscles, thigh muscles, my knee, my ankle throbbing, everything you can think of. So then I made the mistake right after I played the 2 games last night of the family group texting and say, hey, guys, guess what I just did? I just played two half-court games. So my oldest daughter, Dad, are you trying to have a heart attack? And my son said, you know what, Dad, let him play. You know what, Dad, we're going to go down to the Y and play. I said, we ain't playing until I get my butt in shape. I got to start doing some jogging on the treadmill. I got to walk around the block. I got to do something. I went up for a rebound. I thought I was skying up. I swear to you, I think I got 2 inches off the ground.
Your body thinks you're 18. Your brain thinks you're 18. Your body tells you a whole different story.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. My vertical was embarrassing. I've gone from in life being able to grab the rim like this, full-handed. I can't even touch the bottom of the net now. That's sad.
Father Time, he's undefeated, man.
We played in that charity game.
Oh, you
we
and
played
Rob?
That charity game, and Rob will tell you, man. Yeah, it was tough just going up and down the court.
It was rough.
Let alone trying to shoot or rebound or anything else.
Yeah, it was rough. You're right. Like I was so concerned with just being able to hang and stay out there, but the rest of the game is just my jumper was off. It was terrible, man. And we're playing these dudes who were like younger guys, and they had like 12 subs. We had like 2 subs. And they were like young dudes who could actually jacked up. Yeah, dudes were ripped, right, Barrett? Some of these dudes were ripped.
They prepared. They worked out for like a month before.
Yeah.
A month and a half before, knowing they're playing us.
Yeah, man. It was we were not prepared, to say the least.
You see Chris D. D-Gun, you need to hit the gym. Yes, Chris, right. I know I need to hit the gym.
What's up, Chris? What's up, Jeremiah? What's up, I'm something Ruiz? What's up, John? What's up, Fitness? Rebel 85.
Wow.
Good morning, mother.
559. Mrs. Brooks. What's up, Mrs. Brooks?
Hey, we got a new one that says new member, Takeem Hilton. What's up, Takeem?
What's up, Takeem?
Takeem, I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that.
Good to see everybody in the comment section, everybody on the stream, everybody listening. We appreciate you. Well, much love.
The gun peanut butter sandwiches and push-ups. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Jeremy, what's up?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm looking for sympathy. People they talking about, what was this one that said D-Gun faked an injury? They were calling him Ben. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I'm worried about you during the breaks our commercial breaks, let alone playing pickup hoops, man.
At some point in this show, there's a good possibility I will be sitting like this at some point of the show. So I'm just letting you know right now. Man. I'm not sleeping. I'm just trying to stretch a muscle that's locked up on me.
That's all I'm doing. All right. Well, that's it. Listen, I'm glad that you survived. That's the biggest part. We got you today. Reminder tomorrow, if folks want to come hang out with us, it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. So we're headed down Ocean Casino Resort, and it's going to be awesome. And you got to stop out and hang with us because we're going to be at the grand opening of the new sports book. Okay. And we're going to be doing the show from there. As many folks as possible. We'd love to see your faces. Some of you guys in the comment section, some of you guys who listen to the show, on a regular basis, you want to come down and hang with us, kick off your holiday weekend, man. It'll be perfect. It'll be absolutely perfect. It's gonna be fun.
I might be there, body, depending on body.
If you see someone in traction,
with a walker.
Well, yeah, walking with a little bit of a limp, doing his best 50 Cent, but we'll get by. He'll be all right. Gunner's tough, man. He will survive.
Hey, look, John Dickerson, is there catering for D-Gun Seafood Tower? That's a good idea. I'm going to call him and ask Ocean Casino and ask him, can they hook D-Gun up with some seafood?
Yes.
Hey, Rob, remember when we did the draft show there, man? The spread they had for us?
Woo!
The seafood, the steaks,
my God.
The nachos.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Legit. The hardest part for me, you guys kind of got to jump off a little bit during the show. I was on the whole time. So I'm trying to shovel as much in during the break as I can during our breaks, which is not ideal on a lot of levels, especially when you come back and start talking and you try not to burp and whatever. But the food was ridiculous, man. Let me tell you.
Well, unlike this show, at least those breaks were 7 minutes. Unlike this show, which is the breaks only 90 seconds.
We like to keep you on your toes, man. That's why we do that.
Yeah, if I'm not tripping over cords.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, look, so one of the things we're going to hit a bunch of different things today. Free agency for the NBA starts at 6:00. So that's going to be fast and furious. And we'll get into James Harden because it looks like he's taking a discount, which could really help the Sixers. And, I think I have been the leader of the clubhouse here being critical.
Bro, we talked trash about this.
That's right.
Yeah.
For months now and thinking he's going to be a bad dude, that he's the evil guy in this whole situation. Look what he does. He gives him a pass.
Give that man his props. Give me his props.
Man.
Yeah, we will. And we'll see what the offshoot is of it because, that we're hearing, it looks like it's a done deal. PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, there's reports out there that they're trying to move him. The NBA free agency kicks off basically at 6. It's supposed to be 6:00 tonight. At 6:00 in 3 seconds, there will be 6 deals in place. There's wink, wink, nod, nod, some things going on before some tampering, which we're going to call
illegal tampering, whatever you want.
Yeah, right. I love the NFL, the legal tampering period. That's my favorite. But so we're going to do that in a minute. The Phillies lost again last night, but here's the thing. No, listen. I'm going to turn over a positive leaf on this.
I want to hear this.
Even though, and I'll get into the frustration of what's happening with the team. There were 2 really good stories that came out of last night. Okay. Number one, and this is what I like, human interest stuff. And I like the fans, I thought really acquitted themselves and really well last night. So two things. One, Derek Hall, who we talked about a little bit yesterday with Jim Salisbury, 26-year-old, finally cracks the major leagues, made his debut last night. Amazingly in the cleanup spot, which tells you a lot about the Phillies right now. But anyway, he's DHing last night, and he didn't get a hit. His very first at bat, he had a sharp ground out to second base. But what was really cool is as he's coming off the field, he's running back to the dugout. Everybody in the stands above the first base dugout, which is the Phillies dugout, recognized the moment for this kid, and were giving him a standing ovation.
Yeah,
even though he grounded out. In the at-bat. It was basically, we get it. We know you've been kind of laboring here, man, for a long time, slaving away in the minors, and you finally got your shot. Good for you, dude. I thought that was really cool. Wasn't because he got a hit or anything like that, right?
Absolutely.
So that part was on his teammates all in the dugout. They're high-fiving him like he hit a home run. It was a really cool sports moment. Then you fast forward to the 9th inning, and Mark Appel he'll be 31 in a couple of weeks. Was the former #1 overall pick in the MLB draft in 2013.
That's right.
Sat out. This dude sat out, guys, for 3 years. Walked away from the game. He was mentally and physically just drained and toast and cooked. He comes in there, doesn't allow a run, gets a strikeout. Same thing. He comes off. The fan base is going crazy for him, and everybody in the dugout is just making a fuss over this dude because they know how long this journey was for this guy to get there. Like, that to me is why you watch sports. It's moments like that. It's obvious, like when your team wins the Super Bowl and how magic that was. That all that stuff's great. I mean, no doubt. But there's so much we complain about. And there's so much negativity. Those kind of stories to me are everything. I thought it was great.
I remember when Appel was the first overall pick in the draft, and everybody was talking about he's going to be the next great one, the next Sandy Koufax, the next Nolan Ryan. And all of a sudden, his career just spiraled downward. And to see him get back out, and he struck out the sides, right? I believe
he didn't strike out the side last night. No, he had a clean inning. He did have a strikeout, but he had.
No, you're right. Yeah, one. Yeah, okay, he had one. But the fact that he's back now, it's like you forgot he's in baseball until you saw him. It's like, oh my goodness, where's he been all this time?
Yep.
But what a great story. I mean, think about how many people when they walk away, whether forcibly or they go through, emotional demons, they never come back. And all of a sudden, his competitive juices got back to the point where he gets back in the game, and the Phillies get back. If he comes close to being what he was, I mean, it's going to take some time.
Right,
man. What a steal he would be for this Phillies bullpen.
Well, he touched 97 last night, guys.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, just from a baseball standpoint, right? You're exactly right. If this guy can keep building off of that, what this could look like later in the year if there's still
my goodness,
what a weapon he is out of the pen, man. But I just love the fact, like, this guy was very open. Like he said, look, I'm having mental struggles. Like I'm having physical struggles. He had his shoulder operated on. But he also said, like, I literally had to get away from this. Like I was really in a bad place. I was in a dark place is what he ended up saying,
right.
From a mental standpoint. And look, how much it's a struggle for all of us every day, on a day to day. For this dude to be
today.
Especially Derek today or last night on the basketball court. But no, for this dude to be as open as he was, I think for any of us who are sitting there, you're at your desk and you're just like, oh my God, how am I getting through this day, man? You get something going on with the family, or you're having a health crisis, whatever. For things like that, to me, that's the great that sports can do. If you can reach even one person, if you're Mark Appel,
right,
and see his story of perseverance, man.
Bro, and baseball, I mean, that's the only thing that I think about baseball that really sucks, man, because you can spend a lifetime being in the minors and not make it to the majors. And, the NFL is different. I mean, you could be on a practice squad, but you're still on a roster, and you still feel like, you're a part of the team. Man, when you're there, you don't even feel like you're part of the major team. Right?
Yeah.
And you can spend a career there and not make it.
Yeah, no, look, and Barrett, it's the sport where, this is cliche, but it is very true. You're a 300 hitter if you fail 7 out of 10 times.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
Like, you're a good hitter if you fail 7 out of 10 times in Major League Baseball. There's so much failure that goes along with it. It's such a mental game more than, look, I'm not saying the other games aren't tough mentally, but man, that's a lot, right? I mean, it is
just 162, man.
That's a grind, dude.
Yeah, that's a grind, brother.
That's ridiculous.
That's a grind.
You're in the minors. You're not flying. You're taking buses for long stretches, long stretches to pursue something that you love. And I give him a lot of props for it, man. He could have bailed. He got a nice signing bonus. I don't know if that would have set him for life, but he could have just walked away from the game.
If you're talking about minor league baseball, the time to be on a minor league team was back in the 90s. When Michael Jordan walked away from the NBA and decided to play minor league baseball, and he played for Birmingham, and he bought the team a brand new bus. And
he bought him like a Madden Cruiser.
Man, that's the team I wanted to play for back then.
You know who his manager was?
Who?
Terry Francona.
No kidding.
Terry Francona was his
That's
manager.
right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the guys were like basically, the year before we're on the crappiest bus on the face of the earth, just trying to get by. Like no,
no AC,
cracked open, just trying to get in. Right?
Yeah, no AC. Yeah.
The next year, they're traveling in this like luxury cruiser that you couldn't even imagine. Yeah, the dudes were still there, but that was pretty cool, man. So again, so you try to put it in perspective, right? So the Phillies lose; they've lost 2 straight. The bats have been asleep for those 2 games. But those 2 moments, you kind of just try to pull out and you say, okay, this is why you watch sit through so much of this stuff and you love it. I thought that was really cool. The other day, another moment that I thought was awesome. I can't remember how old the kid was. I think he was 6 or 7 years old, and he's battling cancer. Okay, this kid, and they have him at the White Sox game. And I don't think you guys saw this. But the White Sox and the Orioles lined up down the first base line and the third base line.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid, essentially swung the bat like he was, in the batter's box and ran the bases. So as he runs down first base, he's high-fiving every White Sox on the team. Comes around, goes around second, third. He hits every Oriole on the way. And the kid comes home, and the look on that kid's face after that moment, man, was like, wow, this is how you can touch people. Like, Barrett, I'm sure you've been a part of these stories a million times as a player, man. But that's another thing that the greater good for sports, in my opinion, because we have so much bad going on, man.
No question, man. I mean, you when you get moments like that, man, it's unbelievable, man. I can remember I went in, it was like I let a kid carry my pads in. It's like my second year in the league. We were up at Lehigh. I let a kid carry my pads. This young lady carry my pads. She might have been 6 years old. I mean, the pads were bigger than her. So I took the pads out. I just gave her my helmet. So she walks in with my helmet. And I can remember Jet Magazine put that picture in the Jet Magazine. So I'm big time Jet Magazine. Right. I saw the young lady like 10 years ago. She's actually like a big time executive now. You know what I mean? And it was crazy that she remembered that. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know, because I didn't know who the hell she was. I'm looking at her like,
sure,
man.
How could you? I mean, she was a little kid.
Yeah. Then she said, "You let me carry your helmet in," and so she still got the picture of it. So I mean, it was crazy, man.
Well, Barry, you told it once on the show before, but not everybody sees every show or listens. But how about the story with you and Visika Hema?
Oh,
when you were a kid, man. I mean,
exactly.
that. Just real quick. Just you don't have to give every detail, but what
well,
happened?
I wasn't a big football fan. I didn't like football because football was hard. And people don't understand that, people love football, but at the time I did not love football. I wanted to be the next Charles Barkley.
You were a hoops guy. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So my uncles would always go to the Cardinals games when the Cardinals were still in Philly. I mean, still in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. So as players would walk in, and if they had tickets, and nobody's going to use the tickets, they would give it to the people that were there, the kids that were there. So it'd be like 1,000 kids out there, But I go there with my uncle. He's sitting there, and I would never walk up and try to get tickets. Well, while I'm there, Visika Hema was walking by one time. I said, "Man, I see you just about every week, but you're a big guy. You never want tickets. You never run up." I said, "Well, I'm not really, a big football fan. I like basketball." And, he was like, "Oh, for real?" He said, "Oh, okay then." So he looked down at my shoes. My shoes had holes in them because my shoes were too small. So he saw my shoes. He said, "Well, you come in." So he brought me in the locker room. I go into the locker room with him, and he didn't understand what he did for me because I saw something outside of where I was from. I played. I'm from Kinloch. Kinloch's like a small place in St. Louis. Had the 5th highest crime rate per capita in the country. He brings me in, and of course, Vi, I'm like 12 years old, 11 years old, around there, 11, 12 years old. And at that time, I wore how my age was. That's the size shoe I wore. I was 11. I wore 11, 12, all the way until I got to 15. And then it stopped at 15.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he didn't have any shoes he could give me, because my foot was bigger than his. So Stump Mitchell wore a size 12.
I can't believe Stump Mitchell he wasn't a real tall dude. He had some big feet, man.
Right. It was like a 12 or a 13, one of the two.
Yeah.
And he gave me those ruse, man. He was wearing ruse at the time, man. And he didn't know how he impacted me, because not necessarily the football aspect, but he opened up, my eyes to, all right, this is what I could do. This is what I could be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was an incredible, feeling just being in that place and understanding, all right, this is great.
That's
awesome.
And,
I mean, from that point on, man, and I tell you, my Uncle Patrick, man, he was one of the slickest dudes you ever know, man. You know what I'm saying, Uncle Pat? But he opened me up to that, another world. And then after that, I kept tabs on where he was. He went to Philly and all that, but then I get drafted by the Eagles in 1995. So
so you're talking about like 10 years later.
Yeah, 10 years later. So it's me, Mamula, Bobby Taylor. They flew the three of us up. So we go in, and Mamula's up there first, introduced everybody to the city of Philadelphia, yada, yada, yada. Right. Then Bobby goes up, and I'm sitting there waiting on the stage, waiting for my turn to come up, and I look over and I see Vi.
Vi's a reporter at this point for NBC 10.
NBC 10, yeah.
Because he's a reporter. So I'm like, Mr. Sighema, Mr. Sighema, it's me. He looks at me like, yeah, you remember me? He's like, you know me, right? Yeah, you're Barrett Brooks, Kansas State offensive tackle, second round. Yeah, and I was like, no. It's me, Barrett. He said, BB? I'm like, yeah, I can afford my own shoes now. Because that can't be that kid. I'm like, yeah, man. So me and him have kept close ever since then. I mean, tight. In fact, he just texted me yesterday. And
he's enjoying retirement.
No question.
He hung it up after an unbelievable, for people who don't know, an unbelievable run in Philadelphia. He went from a sports reporter to a news anchor.
Yeah.
And for a year, I'll tell you,
morning show.
Yeah, when I interned when I was in college at Channel 10. Channel 10 back then was a CBS affiliate. It's now an NBC affiliate. But when I interned there, Vi did weekends. Our buddy Ron Burke did nights. Big Al Meltzer did the early news.
Big Al.
Bill Werndell, you guys know Billy, who's crazy.
Yeah.
He was one of the producers. Jeff Ash, who just retired from KYW, was one of the producers. And I was the intern in the sports department there. But Vi was as nice a guy as you will ever encounter. And Barrett, it doesn't surprise me one bit that he did that for you as a kid.
No.
He was just a gentleman. He was a gentleman.
And I followed him through the ranks, you know what I'm saying? He went to NBC. I ended up going to NBC. I don't know if I'm going to be a news anchor, but I kind of like what I'm doing with sports, man. But, he's just a first-class dude.
Yeah.
First-class dude.
Barrett, were you able to? Were there stores you could buy shoes from when you were coming up? I mean, once you got like size 13, 14, or no?
You know what? I mean, that's why I gotta give big ups to my mom. You know what I'm saying? Because I really couldn't afford to get shoes like that. You know what I'm saying? My mom worked at Aldi's. She was part-time shoe chef and everything. And my parents were divorced at the time. And I never went to ask her for shoes or anything like that. I would never go ask her. If I couldn't get it myself, then I just wouldn't have it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like she would bend over backwards to get it for me. But I was like, why would I ask? You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to work harder just for, me. I wasn't that type of kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna ask her. I didn't care, I think that's why the way I am now,
right.
Name brand stuff, all that stuff doesn't float my boat, you know what I'm saying? I do stuff that I like, you know what I'm saying? I want to fish, I like to fish, it may not be everybody else's, thing, I love to work on cars, motorcycles, build stuff, work with my hands, that's what gets me excited, wearing a name brand this or anything like that, that's just not my flow, you know what I'm saying? I like what I like and that's it. And it kind of, my kids are like, look at me like, Dad, why are you wearing that? Because I don't care. It's not paying my bills, so why would I want it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am, man. You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
The reason I ask you, when you think about how far shoes have come nowadays, like I'm 5'10" and a half, 5'11", I wear 13.
Right.
And it's hard, and I mostly wear sneakers. It's hard for me to find a comfortable sneaker now because 14s are too big. And it's funny, but very few companies make half sizes anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. So the only sneaker
Certain
that I
shoes
wear,
you can't get halves. Yeah.
Yes. So the only shoe that I wear now, and I got like 20 pairs. I hate to say it, but I do. Is Nike. A Nike makes the perfect 13. I've tried Reeboks. I've tried Adidas. Those are too tight. And so Nike is the only one. So that's why I wear exclusively Nikes. And when it comes to dress shoes, it's the same thing. Some name brands. Because they all want to make these European cuts now, man. But
right.
We ain't in Europe, we're in the United States.
There's little people in Asia and there's little people in Europe, man, because I can fit anything they got, man. Yeah. In fact, their number size doesn't even come up to my number size. Yeah. You got to get to like 53 or something like. What the hell is a 53, bro? You know what I'm saying? The shoe size.
Well, the problem you have too when you're a kid, like I'm sure you were, Barrett, when you're growing that quickly, your shoe size is changing every 6 months, man.
Bro,
and to be constantly going to your parents,
for real, man. Yeah.
You know, like I need a new pair. I need a new pair. I need a new pair. You're like,
exactly.
You know.
See, when I was younger, it was easy because everybody wore PF Flyers, and PF Flyers back then were like $9.99, $10.99, $13.99, and I saw and Chuck Taylors, you know, and I saw a guy wearing a young adult wearing some Chuck Taylors the other day when I was talking to him. I said, yo, man, I used to have them. And you used to have them in every color, man. I had them in blue, red. I had all the colors, right? So I said, how much are they going for nowadays? He said over $50 a pair. I said, what? $50?
My daughter's got a pair of high top whites, man. They are not cheap. They were not cheap. Trust me.
I'm like, what the heck happened?
Like $75.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So when I buy Nikes, I am not paying. I don't pay $200-$300 for a pair of sneakers. I catch every pair of sneakers I have on sale. I go to outlets in California. When I go out to California, down to Rehoboth Beach area.
Yeah, they're good down there, Rehoboth Beach area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I ain't paying $150, $200 for a pair of sneakers.
Well, bro, I can't, you know, like with me, if I find a sneaker that fits me right or shoes that fit me right, I literally have to buy all the colors right then and there because it's few and far between where I get those size 15s.
Yeah.
I'll even go up to a 16 sometimes, you know, just because, you know, I mean, I can fit my foot in it, you know, might be a little big, but still though, you know, I mean, if it's a nice looking shoe, I buy every single color of it. So, I mean, it's you just got to jump on it. Every opportunity you just got to jump on it, man. You got to jump on it.
I hear that. Yeah, so anyway, wanted to point out some positivity and some good stuff off the top of the show.
Well, you know, and to get back to him,
I thought I was going to be a basket case after the Phillies game last night.
I'm
gleaning positives. I'm growing as a human being.
Right.
See, you hang around Barrett not long enough, and we just rub off on you. Now, some of the stuff that D-Gun says and does, you don't want to do that.
You don't want that. You want to wipe that right off.
But there are some things that they're starting to rub off on. And I want to take this moment on record to say, Rob, I'm proud of you today because in the past, you'd have been a basket case. You would have been your face would have been
give me a virtual hug. Come on.
Did you get a hug, Rob?
Thank you.
Man. You get it, man. Because right now
you've
been jumping off the walls right now, you know.
Yeah. His face normally is red as the banners behind him.
Right.
It's true. You can cook eggs.
Look, he's smiling. He's positive. The word positive came out of his mouth.
It was like
impressed.
Positive.
Yes. But getting back to what you were talking about athletes today, and I hope this is a lesson for a lot of people. You know, we put athletes on a pedestal, and I understand why in a lot of cases, and we see a lot of instances, and we hear a lot of instances where athletes distance themselves from everyday people. You know, they don't want to get too close. But you look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles. And you look at this like the story you just told, man, that's a great story, man, that these athletes do that for a kid. It's sometimes what's the saying? Some of the smallest things you do have the greatest impact on some people, things you don't even think about, you know, the little things you do.
Kelsey
Kelsey yesterday. Great
Kelsey, you know, just walking up, shaking hands with people and being a regular guy
We'll
or regular,
never forget that. You know what I mean?
No, you know. And
No,
it's only
well
for one moment in time. And here's something funny. Okay, so a few weeks ago, my family went to my son's girlfriend's party. She had a party because she graduated and is a full-time RN now. So there's a guy, we're about to leave, and my son's girlfriend says, hey, can you tell your dad to stay for a few more minutes because one of my parents' friends coming, and he has to meet D-Gun. So this guy comes in, and he comes straight to me. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's straight to me. He goes, I'm so glad you stayed. We talked. I stood there, yucked it up with him for about 10, 15 minutes talking football. As I'm about to leave, he goes, this may sound weird, but can I ask you a favor? I said, what? He said, can I give you a hug? I'm like, okay. So I hugged the guy. We hugged. So then a couple of weeks ago, my son goes, hey, Dad, I'm over at that guy's house that wanted to give you a hug at the party. And I took a picture with the guy. The guy had the picture framed and had it put it up on his wall. They had it.
Wow.
They were celebrating. The death of one of his sons. It was like an anniversary celebration type thing, you know, in memory of the son. And he said, and as part of the ceremony, they hung up the picture of me. He goes, that picture will never leave my wall. And I'm thinking, from my perspective, I take hundreds of pictures with people. It's just a picture to me.
Yeah.
But to him, I mean, everything that he got to meet D-Gun and just talk to him. And I'm not saying that to be self-serving.
No.
But because of what we do, we are in the public eye. We are not as famous as athletes, but we are in the public eye. And it just helps you just stop for a moment and think that, you know, if you just take a moment, even on the busiest day, if you just stop and take a moment, what you've done has made somebody's day. You don't even think about it, you know, and it's so much important to somebody else, which is something you do every day of your life.
Right.
You know?
No, it's well said. And that shows you the impact that you can have. And back to the Kelsey thing, which we'll get into in a little bit. The, you know, Kelsey probably met 1,000 people, if not more, yesterday, you know, and he meets a lot of people on a daily basis. It's not like every one of them is going to stick with him forever, but I guarantee you those people that he made a fuss over and talked to, they'll never forget that. You know,
they'll never forget that.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And his brother Travis was there.
That was very cool. And Jordan Mailata too. Those guys had fun, man. And I'll tell when we come back, I'll tell you how much they raised, because they did an amazing job for Eagles Autism and Foundation. Incredible the amount of money they raised just on an afternoon or into an evening. And from what I hear, they stayed and hung out with everybody, and it wasn't like, all right, we're 4 to 8, we're out of here. No, they hung around, and as you would expect those guys to do. Anyway, so we'll talk about that when we get back. We'll get into Sixers free agency, guys, because we're about 5.5 hours out for free agency, and this is expected to be a big one. There's supposed to be a lot of stuff going on here, Sixer-wise, NBA-wise, a lot of rumors floating around. So we'll dive into all that. We'll get into the Phillies a little bit later. We got some cool Eagles stuff. We didn't finish the arrow up, arrow down yesterday. We will do that as well. So we got a lot of stuff in store for you. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Sports Take. I am Rob Ellis. All right, let me tell you about Station Tap Catering in Drexel Hill, because they will handle your next business function with ease while you focus on securing a new opportunity for your company. They got 50 years of experience in food preparation. Station Tap Catering will impress, and your guests will be impressed. I've told you about the food there. It is unbelievable, and the variety is amazing at a really reasonable price. They'll come out to your house and cater. You could go to their catering hall in Drexel Hill, which is absolutely spectacular. You name it. They can provide, you know, corporate functions, private events, whatever it is, and also bring you the packaged meals that are just so good and so convenient. If you got a tailgate, if you're just hanging out with your friends in the backyard, whatever the case may be, give them a call, 484-469-3222. That's 484-469-3222, or go to stationtapcatering.com. stationtapcatering.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring all together the stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare. Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Sports Take. Welcome back in, everybody. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks soon to be joining us, we think. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis with you on this Thursday, last day of June. Derek, unbelievable, man.
That's depressing, man.
Tomorrow.
Summer's going by too fast, bro.
I'm with you. I say this all the time. Like, I do this like mental seesaw thing where you and I both love the summer. I love the summer, right?
Yes.
I like the warm weather. I like everything about the summer. So the last thing I want is the summer to fly.
Right.
But I do love football too. So I do this little bit of a tug of war in my own head, sometimes like I find myself anticipating camp and the games and all that. But there's also a part of me. It's like, dude, slow it down. Like, slow it down. Enjoy the summer.
See, I've gotten past that point because football will be here soon enough. And, like I said, I've said it time and time again, nobody loves football any more than I do. But I want to enjoy the summer. Like I'm out at a Home Depot this morning buying some stuff for the yard. And as I'm checking out, the guy who's checking me out goes, the great weather today. I say, yeah, it's great. He goes, when it gets to 90, he goes, I'm done. And I said, look, if it's 100 degrees out, I'm enjoying it. It's just something about it makes your body feel better, makes your muscles feel more elastic. It does drain you and sweating and stuff. But right. I tell you, it's just something about that warm sun on your body, man. For me anyway. I wish I had summer year round.
Me too. I'm a big fan of the summer.
It makes you feel good, bro.
Yeah. Especially when you're hurting, it kind of helps you.
Yeah,
heal
you
up
need
quicker.
it today, man. You better go lay out after the show the way you
No, here after this show, I got to load up. My son-in-law coming to pick me up in his truck. I got 4 big tents, 2 10x10s and 2 10x20s. Got to go to his house, and him and his dad are going to set them up for my granddaughter's birthday party for this Saturday. And these things ain't light, man. These things are heavy.
I hear you. You're gonna be hurting tomorrow, man.
I'm
gonna be a mess.
I'm gonna be out in the sun until sundown, setting this stuff up.
Barry, we're in trouble tomorrow with this guy.
I'm telling you,
we got to carry the show for him.
Exactly.
Right. I gotta leave my house. I gotta leave my house. Shut up. I gotta leave my house at 8:00 tomorrow morning just to get to Ocean City to be on time for the show.
What time do you have to be there?
The show starts at noon, Barrett. You remember? Yeah. Well, we got a meeting at 11, so Barrett, I expect to see you about 11:50.
I think we could probably bag the meeting. We'll talk about that. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
I'm worried about the beach traffic, man.
I actually think we'll be okay early, like that early. I think we'll be okay.
How long
later could be trouble. Yeah.
Well, how long does it take you to get there from where you live?
Hour and 15, hour and 20.
With no traffic.
With no traffic.
See, I'm $1:45 with no traffic. Mm-hmm. So let's see, shows at noon. So yeah, I'm gonna leave at like 8:00, 8:30 at the latest, just to make sure I have extra time to get there, get in place.
Wake me up.
What?
Can you call and wake me up?
Barry, you get up at like 7 in the morning. You like a farmer, dude.
Barry's got the easy commute. You're down there, what, 45, Barrett, from where you're at?
45 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Most.
That's not a bad one. Yeah, I got to turn right back around. I was gonna go down the shore, but now I got to work Saturday. Yeah. Monday, so I'm turning right back.
And guess what? We'll still be buried down there. We'll still beat them.
I know.
But look. When I go, I bypass all it. See, the bulk of the traffic is when you get off the bridge.
You go 55 and all the back ways.
Yeah, I go. 73. I take 73 to the turn to what do you call
Jersey.
it? Jersey Turnpike,
the Garden State Parkway.
Yeah. So I go that way.
The Expressway.
And I miss all the stuff, the crowd and congestion. When you get off that bridge or you going over the bridge, it's the worst, man, because everybody it just bottlenecks and pushes everybody in.
Yeah.
It goes from like 4 lanes to like 2 lanes. And that, during that bottleneck time, it's the worst. So I bypass all that and I go the back way and get there.
See, I have to go across the Delaware Memorial Bridge. Oh my goodness. The traffic backup on that thing. Once I get over the bridge, I'll be fine. But just trying to get across that bridge, oh my goodness, man! Once you get on 95 and then have to veer across that huge bridge, oh my goodness.
Yeah, man, that's not fun.
If I don't make it on time, it ain't because I didn't leave early enough. It's that I'm stuck somewhere.
All right.
Just telling you now.
All right. So we'll have plenty on this tomorrow. Tomorrow will be kind of the aftermath of this. But 6 o'clock tonight, not that far away, actually, NBA free agency kicks off. And if you're familiar with the way this has gone the last few years, I remember, I think it was when the Sixers signed J.J. Redick and when he walked to go to New Orleans. Yeah. It was literally like, I'm not kidding you, like 6 o'clock and 18 seconds, and JJ Redick signing with the Pelicans. Gee, do you think they had a deal in place before the deadline?
Really?
It's just so bogus. But anyway, so we're going to be hearing a lot of different things. Now, the big news from a Sixers perspective is James Harden is not opting in, from what we're hearing, is not opting in to the $47.1 million deal. Okay, he's going to opt out, which means less money up front, probably more on the back end here. What it allows the Sixers to do, in all likelihood, is sign a PJ Tucker. Like I said, this stuff gets really confusing, but they'll have the $10.5 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception. That's going to be about the range of what Tucker's going to make for probably 3 years. So you'll be able to do that. There's other exceptions that this will help them with too, other mid-level stuff, which means they could probably get a wing or someone who could shoot it a little bit from the wing as well. So this is going to open things up for them to be able to round out the roster a little bit more. So let's start there, because then we'll get into the possibility of Tobias Harris being traded. But, Harden's situation, he said after the season when he was asked point blank when they got eliminated, he said, look, I'll be here. We'll figure it out. Morey last week called it a love fest. So they must have had this deal in place and known long ago that this is how it was going to shake out.
We have died and fried and lambasted James Harden for so many weeks, as has everybody else, fan, media, expert alike. And I'm going to give this man his props right now. If he's going to do this, if he's going to opt out so that he can help this team free up some money to get other players, I got to give James Harden his props here and right now. That's a very unselfish move on his part, because that tells me James Harden wants to win. And the only way they're going to win is if they get better. Now, I'm sure somewhere on this deal, whether it's on the back end or whatever, Daryl Morey is going to get him his money. They're going to make this up somehow, some way to get him his money. But the fact that James Harden is doing this for the overall good of the team, I got to give this man a lot of respect for that, because not many players would do that, especially at this stage of his career. You give him a $47.5 million. Now, he's still going to probably get in the 30s. I mean, which is still a lot of money. Yep. But you give it a $47 million guaranteed, so that you can become better as a team, which also helps take some of the pressure off you and Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Kudos to James Harden for doing that, man.
To me, it's big time. I roasted this dude, saying, he's just about his money. Well, evidently he does want to win. And like I said, he deserves the money he gets, whatever amount he gets. He deserves it. Even if they overpay him, he deserves it, because he's an NBA player. He has a rare skill set that a lot of people in this world can't do. So, like it or not, he's still among the top, I would say top 30 NBA players in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? Top 20, top 30. Mm-hmm. So, he deserves the money he gets. But the fact that he's throwing him a solid and allowing them to go out and make this team better, they're in win now mode. I don't know if I would let Tobias Harris go now. I mean, I don't know if they really need to.
Barrett, I'm with you. Like, I tend to feel like he's going to be here. I know there's a lot of smoke around Harris, but I feel like he's going to be here.
I do too.
And all of a sudden, if you're looking at a starting lineup of Harden, Maxey, Tobias, Tucker, Embiid, I'm not hating that. Like, that's a pretty good five right there.
Right.
That's right.
And then you add Melton to the bench, who will get you 10, 12 points off the bench, can defend, can do a lot of different things.
And even old ass George Niang will give you a solid 18, 19, when his shot is on. Yeah,
if he's hitting his threes for sure. And I'm not telling you the bench is done. It's far from done. You got to do more. But that's a nice start. That's a nice start. If that's the way this shakes out.
Barrett said old
Old ass George Niang. I think that is his nickname. The minivan.
Yeah. I mean, he plays. He may not even be old. You know,
the minivan was in Park in that Miami series, man. It was in the shop for that Miami series.
I might have been him in a 40, man.
Hopefully, you got a tune up. Yeah, we're ready to roll. But I'm with you guys in that. The longer this went on, because you saw everybody else opting in, all these other guys who were
had
whatever, like people like Beal are opting out because they're going to get the max from their team. Like, it's different. But the longer it went on with Harden not opting in, you thought something's up. Like, something's up here. So clearly that's where he and Morey having the relationship that they have, and Morey saying to him, "Hey, dude, like, do us a solid here. We'll take care of you on the back end.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to make some moves this year, and this would help us be able to do that." You like that? I mean, that's a good thing.
Well, it is a solid. It's definitely a solid. And I mean, I like the move. I like that he's considering everybody else, in the organization trying to win a championship.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. He wants to win a championship. Now that I see that, I feel as though he wants to win a championship. This is not only going to show the organization, but it shows the players on the team. Hey, I'm taking one for the team.
That's right.
And not getting my money. Because rest assured, even if he opted in, got the 47, and he didn't sign back with 76, there was some fool team out there was going to give him big money anyways.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean?
Absolutely. 100%. So that's kind of where things are right now. We're in a bit of a holding pattern until 6, until we know exactly how it looks. But it feels like there's going to be a lot of movement. Like, I think there's more minor trades coming potentially for the Sixers, going to add some other pieces here. They certainly could use more shooting. We know, guys, and Tucker's going to help with this in a big way if in fact he comes here. They were an awful rebounding team, so that's going to help.
The worst rebounding
and defense and toughness. This is the thing that excites me. Look, I'm okay with the third year of Tucker. I don't love it, but if that's what it takes, that's the price of doing business. I can live with that if it ends up being 3 years. I don't love it, but I'll live with it if that's what it is.
Man, you are in a positive mood today. What got into you?
What
happened to you today?
It's a new leaf, man. It's a new leaf. Yeah.
In the world?
I am. I'm good. Because I think he's not being counted on to like give you 20 points per game.
Right.
I think he can maintain that sort of 10-point average.
Yep.
Hit the boards, play defense for you for 3 years. I do.
Well,
and it's only $10 million in the NBA. That's a pittance, man. That's nothing.
Right. We're not talking about big money. And what they're bringing him in for is not the shooting. It may be a little bit with the defensive rebounding, but the biggest thing, his biggest role on this team is to change how this team approaches the game, the attitude of this team.
Culture toughness.
Yes. The last 2 teams he's been on have been very successful because he set the tone, and he's the one he's the sparkler that really starts the runs that most of these teams get.
Yeah.
A big rebound or a big defensive play. Him going out and setting the break up, because he got the rebound or he made the defensive play and or check somebody. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have anybody to go out and check somebody. You know what I'm saying? I want somebody to go check, not check him as like
guard him.
But I'm checking. I'm checking like, yo, I'm about to punish you. I'm punishing you this game. That's what I was looking for.
Well, the other thing is he knows how to play with Harden. Those two played together in Houston forever. Yes. They love being teammates. So that's another built-in advantage of Tucker.
I didn't even consider that. You're right.
And you talk about making minor moves. If the Eagles do this, if the Sixers do this well enough and strategically enough, you can make minor moves, a series of minor moves, and still make this team stronger than what it is right now.
Right.
Everybody thinks you have to have a splash. Well, I do think they need to make one more splash. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you can make enough. You make enough. I mean, a prime example is a team like the Miami Heat. Look how many insignificant moves they made to build around a core group of players. It got them to the NBA Finals and close to getting to the NBA championship. It got them to the conference finals. So you can do that, if you find the right nucleus of guys. And there's enough middle tier type players out there that might tickle the Sixers fancy to make this a much better team. And I'm curious to see. Now, we give Daryl Morey and the staff a lot of credit for being able to assemble teams and to find players. Okay, now's a great time. If what we're hearing is true about Harden, is true, in fact. Now we're going to find out just how good they are at strengthening a roster, not with a lot of splash moves like the Lakers try to do every other year, but with just minor moves to make you better defensively, better mentally tough, better perimeter shooting game, better penetrators out there. You can find some Seth Currys out there and not cost you a mint.
Well, the other thing is, Derek, I hold him to a very high standard. You know, he's being paid a ton. Barrett, you know, he's talked about with any executive in the NBA as being elite. Okay.
Yes.
So I get it. It's not ideal to your cap situation. Figure it out, dude. If you're elite, like get players in here who are who are sitting on somebody's bench who just need an opportunity or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
We're spoiled right now because you look what they've done in baseball. Bringing in those hitters, even though, you know, Castellanos hasn't done anything, but you look at what the Eagles have done and Howie Roseman, he set the bar so damn high that, you know, it's just put up a shut up. When you're the 76ers, you see that like, all right, you know, the other two teams in the league, I mean, in our city, they made some major splash and they made it happen, fit within that cap, you know, so he has to follow suit. You know what I'm saying? He can't just sit like, man, what am I going to do? He has to go out there and make it happen. And just like you said, well, Miami, just the little things, bringing in the PJ Tucker. Victor Oladipo was all but gone. You know what I'm saying? His injury had almost put him in a position where he wasn't worth, you know, a donut hole. You know what I'm saying? He had less worth than a wooden nickel. But look what he did. You know, he ended up being, you know, a guy that started to step up for him. Now he's going to go into next year. He's going to be a major contributor next year. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he has to get a diamond in the rough from somewhere else and bring somebody in that he's done some advanced scouting on who could take that next step. You know what I'm saying? Like a Victor Oladipo.
Bear, I can't emphasize enough when you look at that Miami roster, they had 8 players on the roster that were not drafted players.
Wow.
Okay. Now you think about on a roster, you keep anywhere from 12 to 15 players on a roster for the most part. And 8 of your players were undrafted players, and you were good enough to get to the conference finals?
Right.
Now, obviously, coaching has a lot to do with that. Chemistry has a lot to do with that. But they found the right players that other teams overlooked to make that team not just a conference final team, but look at what they were. They weren't the greatest outside shooting team. You had a Jimmy Butler who took a lot of heat off a lot of players, and rightfully so. But you had a lot of great role players on that team, man. And you had guys, they could shoot from the perimeter. They weren't lethal like Golden State and Boston, but they could shoot from the perimeter. They could defend. They could jump. They can get the offensive rebounds. They did all the things that got them to where they were. Now they're going to have to retool because they're going to lose a few key players. They're going to have to retool, but it can be done if you have the right people in the front office assembling the pieces.
Well, take it a step further. You're also operating from a position of urgency here because you don't know how long Embiid's going to last. You don't know. No. Harden's no kid. We know that at this point. You know, you're Tucker, 37 years old if he ends up being here. Right. You're talking about an older, with some exceptions like Maxey and whatnot, but you're kind of an older team now. So now's the time. You don't have forever to build this thing. So whatever the mindset of Daryl Morey is. Just think about it. You bring Harden back, who's probably going to get about 3 years at what's Harden, 32, 33 years old. You're going to probably bring Tucker in at 37 for about 3 years. And Embiid is an older 29, 30 years old, whatever. Like you got to win now, man. This is not about building anything.
Right.
So you have got to execute and as such as a general manager and approach it as such and try and win now.
Right. You know, I mean, just like Miami, you're talking about coaching, you know, them going and put Matt Strauss in a position where he became their lead dog, you know what I'm saying? Their point and you know, he was providing, you know, that spark that they needed. Like I said, Victor Oladipo, you know. I mean, those two played so well that Tyler Hero became an afterthought.
Yes.
He's their big gun, you know what I'm saying?
Just a year ago, he was a starter.
And Duncan Robinson couldn't get off the bench.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
You that kind of depth.
That's the time the GMing I need to see it, but that isn't even a word or a phrase. GMing, you know, he has to go out there and do some GMing.
He has to do some
from the Barrett dictionary.
Right.
I use that term, GMing. I like it. No, but I agree, Barrett. I mean, I think also one of the things that Morey said after the draft last week was we got to get more wings. And
Yes.
they realize they
Yeah.
don't have enough shooting, man. This is a shooter's league. This is a wings league.
Yep.
And they don't have nearly enough.
No, and when you look at the teams like the Phoenixes, the Golden States, the Bostons, that's how you win in this game. You know, you got to have some tenacity, but lighten it up from 3-point range. I got so sick of watching the playoff, one aspect of the playoffs where guys would drive the paint, be wide open, they stop, turn, and kick it back out to shoot a three instead of taking the easy layup. But I'm thinking, what has happened to the fundamentals of the game?
Yeah.
You know, you got a 3-foot bunny shot, and instead of taking it, you're more concerned about getting a three. And I'm thinking, but that's what got those teams to where they went to the conference finals and to the NBA finals.
Yeah.
So Daryl Morey is right. You got to get more guys to loosen things up on the perimeter. They just didn't have enough guys that could do it consistently.
You know, the shame of it is. Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
Oh, you want to?
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask this. You take Harden and Simmons out the deal. Are they better now or then? Right, you know, compare the teams now going into the season. This year's season and last year's season. These rosters going into the year. You take Harden out, you take Simmons out. Do you think they're better with that group of guys or this group of guys?
I mean, it's just funny. The point I was going to make is it's a shame you had to give Curry up in that deal with the Nets.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying.
I wish you could have given Thibault up, honestly. Here's where I have to say you kind of had to make the move because, I don't know. Simmons was so far gone, man. It's just a net zero. As much as you're frustrated with Harden that he's not quite Houston Harden, he's still giving you something. He's giving you assists. He's hitting some shots. You were going to get nothing out of Ben Simmons. He had checked out and he was done. He took his ball and went home, and he wasn't going to play. So you had it. But the Curry one is the one that hurts, man. He'd be so perfect for this team right now.
Oh, my goodness.
If you could just get him
the
back.
center also. What's his name?
Yeah, Drummond helped them.
Drummond
gave them real nice depth. And you saw, man, with DeAndre Jordan was cooked. He was done at that point. And
if we had Drummond, we'd have worked out. We'd have probably beat the Heat.
They missed him bad. Yeah, they missed him, especially with Joel not being able to play the first two games, whatever. And I actually don't dislike B-ball Paul, Paul Reed, but he wasn't quite ready yet. And Doc didn't trust him. That's the other part. Doc just didn't have that trust for him. All right, so we come back, guys. We'll dip our foot back into the NFL, back into the birds, back into the arrow pointing up.
Yeah.
Down. We did this exercise yesterday. We got to a good amount of Eagles, but we didn't get to everybody. And I'll tell you the guys we're going to hit today, some heavy hitters. Arrow pointing up or down, Jalen Hurts. Arrow pointing up or down, Isaac Seumalo. Arrow pointing up or down, Lane Johnson. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Marcus Epps, James Bradbury, Nick Sirianni. And we got a little Nick Sirianni story. Well, we'll see. I don't know how.
Are you really going to tell that story? Are you going to start that rumor?
I'm going to put it in context.
Right.
So you're going to put another log on what is already just a little flame. You're going to put a log on it.
I'm going to put a context log on there.
That's his job. That's his job.
Yeah, I'm going to put a Duraflame on there. To kind of
what's going to happen? We're going to get credit on social media for blowing his story up, and we took it secondhand. All of a sudden, we get a call from the Eagles PR, and they'll never help us again.
No, I'm going to
players or coach on the show.
Correct. I will
I'm just telling you.
I will fully explain the story. So we'll do that as well when we get back. Don't worry, Derek. We'll be okay. I know how to handle this. This is my first rodeo.
See, you Philadelphia media people, man. That's what's wrong.
I know.
With
You sound like Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is blaming the media now for what he said about the Eagles being an all-star team. All right, we'll do all that when we get back. Don't go anywhere. He's Derek Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, finances. We know how tough it is right now. Everything's a mess, right? You're paying a lot of money for things. You're trying to save money. You're just trying to get by half the time. Knowing the right person to invest your money with is enormous, especially in this day and age. And I got the right person for you. That's Jim Murray of Principal Financial Group. I can tell you from personal experience, I have utilized Jim and Principal, and they have been awesome with me, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. If you have a small business and you're looking to help with you need some help with your employee benefits, it's another resource that Jim and Principal can help you with. I've used them in leaving certain jobs and rolling over a 401k into an IRA. And Jim walked me through every step of the process, and I couldn't be happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at Murray, murray.jim@principal.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back in. Thanks for hanging with us. We are Sports Take. Tell a friend. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Smash the like button. Tomorrow we will be at Ocean Resort Casino. Looking forward to that, hanging out with you. So stop on down. Also, go to jakibsports.com for all your latest Eagles news. Great content on there from our guy, John McMullen. And it's a way to link up to our show to see some of our previous interviews. Just give you a couple examples. We had Al Wallace on. We had Jimmy Kempski, Jim Salisbury, Derek Bodner, Jason Avant, Mike Sealski, just in the last few days. So check out what we have on there, all of our content. All right, why not? This goofy story. So there was a caller to WFAN in New York.
Here we go.
To Boomer Esiason and Boomer and Geo show, their morning show. Guy, native New Yorker who's living in South Jersey, who claims, and he was in Maple Shade, I think. I forget where he said in New Jersey, but he claims he was playing tennis. He was at a tennis court. And Nick Sirianni was there with his wife playing tennis. The guy had a Giants hat on and a Yankee shirt. This is what the guy said on his phone call. Okay. So take it for what it's worth. It's a caller to Sports Talk Radio. And Nick Sirianni said, I have a problem with your hat. It's a Giants hat that the guy had on. The guy said, why don't you come over and do something about it? Words were exchanged, etc. Again, that's coming from the caller. Now, Nick Sirianni has not corroborated any of this, has not denied, has not addressed it, nor does he have to. These are just a rumor from a guy, unsubstantiated, that was thrown out there that's making the rounds. That's all. I mean, that's all it is. I'm not saying it happened or it didn't.
All right, I'm going to a source to try to get some more information about this story right now. See what happens. So
Here's the thing, and maybe this is the petty me. Maybe I was such a good guy for the first half hour. Maybe I'm losing it now.
Oh no, man.
Or for the first hour, whatever. I kind of liked that Nick Sirianni got into it if it really did.
Yes. That's what I was about to say. Yes.
He's a feisty cat, man. I like that.
Man. Come on.
Okay.
Now.
All right. Hold on. First of all, weren't they playing tennis in New York somewhere? Is that part of the story?
Maple Shade. That's right around the corner.
Oh, South Jersey. Okay, yeah. South Jersey. So it's a free country. You can wear what you want to wear in America. There are no restrictions on who you root for, what you want to wear. You're out there trying to get some exercise. You're playing tennis. Why would you care about if somebody's wearing a jersey and a hat you don't like?
My guess is
why
Nick was busting balls, and the guy
took it serious.
Got pissy about it. That's
then you got to take the racket and slap him across the chops with it.
Man, you moved quick on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. You trying to, just trying to strike up conversation with the dude, and all of a sudden he's gonna take it serious. So you know what? Pow! Right across the chops. I'm just saying. Gotta take him out, bro.
Again, Derek's digging in. This is serious stuff now. So we'll find out what ended up happening there. All right. So let's go back to our arrow up, arrow down, guys. So, by the way, one other thing, just staying on that note for a minute. We talked about the story yesterday where Miles Sanders was talking to, I believe, CBS Sports, and talked about how the Eagles are a an all-star team, and can't wait to get rolling this year. So he's not happy. He feels like he's being he was taken out of context and being misrepresented for what he ended up saying. Number one, I said this yesterday, I want him to feel like that. I want him to feel like this is an unstoppable great team. Do I want him limping in like I don't know how we're going to be? No, I want him feeling the way he felt. I'm good with it, but don't flip it into like it's all the media's fault now. Come on, Miles.
Well, it falls under the category of who was it that says we have a dream team? Was that Vince Young?
It was Vince.
Yeah. And we see how that backfired, right? Players have to be smart enough. I don't mind his confidence, but that could also backfire on you, especially if you come out of the gate sluggish. And the headlines across the board, you know how it works in the media, man. If he has a series of bad games, or if this team starts out losing more than they're winning, oh, what happened to the dream to this all-star team that you were talking about? More like the falling star team. You got to be careful, but don't sit back and blame the media that we're blowing it out of the waters. You said it, we didn't. We're just rolling with it, man. It's great conversation. It's a great conversation piece.
Just
come on, man. Yes.
Yeah. Be a man about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I'm saying. If you got a problem with somebody saying something to you, I mean, you saying that, then don't say it. If I'm gonna say it, I'm saying, hey, I think we're pretty damn good. Yeah. I'm gonna say it.
I stand behind you.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
So I think our show
don't
is pretty damn good.
Yeah, don't say we're a dream team, all-star. Come on, man. People are going to take off of that, especially on Twitter. Twitter is the devil. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm just going to play it up there. Twitter is the devil. You ain't going to never catch D Gun saying something that puts himself in an awkward situation on any social media platform, because you know why? Because you got all these people that hide in the dark who can't wait to come out to jump on something and blow it out of the water that you might say. So that's why when people try to engage me in a debate on a social media platform, I go silent. I'm in the witness protection program. Now, if you see me in public and you want to discuss, we can have fun discussing all day. But on social media, nah, that's not gonna happen.
Bro, I'm just like going to the wind. Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
I hear you. I hear you with that.
Yes. If you say the wrong thing, I'm blocking you. So
but lastly, before we get to the arrow up, arrow down, Brett Brown has agreed to return to the San Antonio Spurs to join Greg Popovich's staff as an assistant coach, according to Woj. You remember he was an assistant there from 2007 to 13 on Popovich's staff. So good for him. Look, he was in a pretty untenable situation here in Philadelphia with the process years. Went through a lot of crap. I thought was left out to dry, hung out to dry a lot of times by Sam Hinkie and had to answer for things a coach should have never been answering for. I don't wish that dude any ill will. I hope he goes there and he is an assistant as long as he wants to be, man. Just kind of do your thing. So I want to throw that out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, going back to a place he's comfortable with. Yeah. No, Derek? No.
Good for him. No, good for him. You know what? Oh. He got a raw deal here. He's coaching with one of the best coaches in the history of the game. You know,
he's friends with.
He's friends with. San Antonio is down right now. You know, for so many years, San Antonio was one of the marquee teams in the NBA. They're down right now, but you know, good for Brett, because Brett, you know what, the times that I talked to, he's a good dude. I think he's just a good people who got put in a bad situation. So good for him. He's still close to the game, still coaching the game, still in the NBA. Good for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. His son is actually going to go play basketball at Penn next year, so good for him. All right, so back to the Eagles. So what we were talking about yesterday, we did an arrow up, arrow down thing when it comes to. Oh, let me start with this, and I should not have omitted this. Kudos to, we talked about it earlier, Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce, Jordan Mailata.
Yes.
The Eagles Autism Foundation yesterday at the Ocean Drive in Sea Isle City, New Jersey. They raised over $100,000.
That's awesome.
Just that day for autism. You know, with those guys bartended, they were hanging out, they were signing things. You know, just all around exactly what you would expect out of the Kelce's. You know, and Jordan Mailata is a lot of fun. He was singing karaoke at one point, so he was singing "Want It Dead or Alive."
One of my all-time favorites
from Bon Jovi. And you know how the one line, "I'm a cowboy"?
Yes.
He kept saying, "I'm an eagle." He wouldn't say cowboy. So Jordan Mailata gets it. So
that had to be worth at least an extra 20,000 right there.
I agree with you.
No question about that. That gets him. That's just like that. That's instantly giving him what? How many people were there? Multiplied by votes he's going to get from the Philadelphia fans for the Pro Bowl, man. That's what that is.
Yeah, and great job out of those guys, the Eagles, Ocean Drive. What's the matter?
This dude, John Dickerson, D-Gun doesn't speak a lot about his OnlyFans account. Hey, John, let me guarantee you one thing. You ain't going to ever see me on the OnlyFans, bro. Ain't going to happen. Not going to do it.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, man.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Those people, man. Jeez.
All right, let's dive into our arrow up, arrow down. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The exercise here is going into this season. By the time the season's over, the 2022 season, is the arrow going to be up or down with these players? Okay. Well, so let's start with the obvious here. Let's go Jalen Hurts. Arrow up as in the guy of the future. Arrow down as in gonna need to make a move in the offseason, Eagles. Derek.
Oh, you would make me go first.
Of course.
Where we sit right here, right now, today, there is nowhere to go but up for him. He has shown that he has raw ability. Now he has to hone in ability to make it NFL caliber ability. The pieces are there, but can he get the job done? Not in mini camps, not in training camp, not a limited amount of preseason games. When the bullets start flying for real, can he get it done? We will get our answers this year. If not, the Eagles will move on. But considering where he was and where he finished up in 2021, he can only go up from here. So I'm going to say the arrow is up for Jalen Hurts.
Arrow up, Barrett.
Of course, the arrow is going to be up because he's shown the ability to never go into a season the same way he was the year before. He's gotten progressively better every year from getting to Alabama, leaving Alabama, getting to Oklahoma, then coming to the Eagles, and then playing last year. He's gotten better at steady progression, and that's what my expectations for him. He does the little things. I'm not even talking about intangibles. I'm talking about the little things as far as taking care of his game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with I'm good with that, man. I'm good with him being the leader of this team, and they're gonna have to pony up, man, because I think he's gonna take that next step into being, what we need as a franchise quarterback.
See, I like your optimism, but I'm holding reservation because there's too many unknowns about him overall right now as a player, as a potential long-term starter in the National Football League. I don't disagree with you, but I can't let those words come out of my mouth right now about him.
Like I'm in the up camp, okay, but I'm not. I don't know if it's going to be up enough. Like I think it'll be trending in the better direction than what we saw last year, but I don't know if it's going to be trending far enough up where we're saying this is the guy, lock him up with a monster deal. I'm really not there yet. I need to see it this year, in all fairness, and I'm not trying to cop out on what we're doing, But I think he's going to be better and improved. But I don't know if that's going to be improved enough. I always use, is he a guy who could win you a playoff game? That's awesome. It's great. It's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. But is he capable of winning you a Super Bowl?
But see,
I think he goes up, Barrett, but I don't know if I'm there yet.
See, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's, because everybody's expectations that he's going to be, what you're seeing out, in Cincinnati, or what you're seeing in what do you call it?
Chargers.
With the Chargers. He's not that guy.
No, I agree.
No,
It's not, and it's not fair to compare him to
Right.
Burrow
So
and Herbert. It's fair.
You can't have that expectation on him. I mean, what's wrong with being a Dak Prescott?
Well, no. Barrett, there's nothing wrong with him being a Dak Prescott if that's a step on the ladder. But if that's where he's topping, that's not going to be good enough. It's got to be, if it's part of the growth of him, that's fine.
So I'm fine as too. What is everybody saying is good enough? Is the money's not good enough, or is his play not good enough? Is he winning games? I mean, that's what I'm looking at. His ability to win games. I think he can win games. I think that he's very reliable in winning these games.
What if they're winning in spite of him? We've seen that happen a lot of times in the National Football League. Teams can win in spite of a quarterback.
Yes, and I've had that happen. Like even the Super Bowl I won, we won in spite of Big Ben.
Yeah,
but Big Ben got us there. And if we're winning, it's going to be a lot of him that's going to be in charge of us winning. Even if we run the ball the way we ran it last year, the reason why we were able to run the ball like we did last year is the threat of what he could do, which made guys stay at home, play assignment correct, because his ability to go out there and run and make plays. So
see, I would counter with Big Ben helped you win. You guys had a great defense. You had a great running game. You had a great offensive line. I would say he helped you. He managed the game well enough for you to win.
The first time.
Yeah.
The second one, Ben makes the throw to Holmes. I mean, Ben.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the one when Barrett played in.
Yeah,
when he got He helped you get there. But there were so many other intangibles
that was 2 years later.
Yeah.
That was 2 years later in his progression of being Big Ben. He was just Ben Roethlisberger when I played with him. Mm-hmm. He wasn't big. He became Big Ben after that Phoenix Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
He was also Shady Ben.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, he's very shady. We know that.
We don't have enough time.
Right. But that's just a special announcement to everybody on the stream. We will have Brian Westbrook on.
Word.
Today at 2:00.
Today at 2?
Good.
Yes, today at 2.
Okay, I knew you were working on that. Nice. That's awesome.
Today at 2:00.
All right, Brian Westbrook.
Just got emailed.
About time you come on.
All right, B West 2:00. Mark it down. Tell a friend. All right, so that's awesome, Barrett. Good job. So that's Jalen right there. Let's jump around a little bit here. I'll go over the defense for a minute.
Here we go.
Fletcher Cox. End of the season, playing essentially for a contract. Well, arrow up, arrow down. Barrett, you got this one first.
I'm gonna start it off and preface it like this. Fletcher is definitely a product of what's going on around him. If the team is doing bad, he will shut it down. If the team is doing good and in an upward trend, he is a guy that you can't stop. So last year was a year in which they started off not very good. And during that time period, he wasn't very good. When they started getting better and they started making these potential run for the playoffs, if you notice, his play got better and he became more dominant as a player. So it really depends on how the team is going on which Fletcher Cox is going to get. Now, I mean, that's just the way I'm looking at it. Others may seem different, see different. It seems to me that, not saying he's a front runner or anything. I'm saying he's a guy that, if there's a cause, he's going to be right there front and center, fighting the cause, fighting a good fight. If there's no substance in what they're playing for, you're not going to get that much of a substance from Fletcher Cox. That's just what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I'm going to say trending up because I think this team is thinking they're trending up right now.
They've done enough around him that the defense is going to be good enough that you're going to get Max Fletcher.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Gunner?
So that's the best way I can put it. That's
Okay.
Because we all know how dominant he can be. We know how good Fletcher Cox can be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Can he still be that good, Derek Gunn?
Mr. Ellis, I will defer to you, and then I will answer.
All right, here's my answer on that. I don't think the arrow is going to be going up. I think it's a sideways arrow when it comes to Fletcher Cox because
we have a sideways option.
A $14 million guy should not be dependent. Should not be. Yes, I just made it up. Yes, I did. I just cheated on my own game.
Right.
As a matter of fact.
Oh my goodness.
Where I was going to force you guys. It's got to be up or down, and I go sideways. He's making 14 a year, man. Like you can't be depending on everybody else. Make a play, dude. If you're getting doubled, make a play. If things aren't going perfectly, make a play. I don't need the entire nature and the atmosphere to be perfect around you for you to step your game up. That's what frustrates me with Fletcher more than anything else. I do think the talent's still there. I do think the ability is still there. I don't know if the motor's there where it needs to be. And I think he'll be covered up a little bit more because he's got Hargrave, because he has Jordan Davis, because he's got better ends, Reddick. All those people will help him, but he needs to be better. So I'm going to say it's because I do think his numbers are going to be better than they were last year, but I don't know if it's as much as he's capable of.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Both of you make compelling arguments, and I'm proud of both of you.
Yeah, he's proud of us.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It means we're going to get ripped right now.
I'll let you figure it out. I think one of the biggest mistakes we in general, and I'm not saying us three, but in general make, is that Fletcher has been constantly compared to Aaron Donald. They're two different style players, and they play two different games. And time again, we see these plays where, Aaron Donald, you can't block him with two guys. He shed blockers. He splits blockers. He's constantly getting to the quarterback. He's a different motor kind of guy, playing a different kind of defense. Fletcher Cox is more of a take on the pressure. And every time we ask Fletcher to do things that don't get recognized in the stat books, which tells me he's asked to take up space to allow other people around him to do things. And it takes an unselfish player to do that. Players want to make stats. That's how they make their money. But Fletcher has made his money because not only the organization, but other players and front offices around the league recognize this dude is like a Brahma bull. He can take over when he wants to. He doesn't do it consistently enough. Fletcher is in the twilight of his career, making $14 million for 1 year. He wants to go out and prove that he's still a quality player because Fletcher wants to play beyond 2022, whether he plays football in Philadelphia or for some other organization.
Right.
And I'm going to say the arrow is pointing up with Fletcher because Fletcher is going to play with a chip on his shoulder this year. He sees the organization moving in a youth movement. See, it wasn't that long ago Fletcher Cox was part of the youth movement on this team. Now he's one of the older guys, and he's looking over his shoulder. There's Milton Williams. There's Jordan Davis now. And he's got to be thinking, are my days numbered with the Philadelphia Eagles? Are they about to put me out to pasture? So Fletcher his mindset should be coming in and playing with that proverbial chip on his shoulder to prove a lot of people wrong. I am still a Pro Bowl player. I am still one of the most dominant D tackles in the game today. And I'm going to go out and show you at this stage of my career that I'm all of those things above. So I'm going to say the arrow is not sideways, but it's slightly going up for Fletcher Cox this season.
It's like that way as opposed to that way or that way or that way. That way.
You keep making up the rules as you go along, man.
It's my game. I can make up the rules.
It's my toy, and I can take it if I want to.
No. All right. So, I want to hit you guys with this one then. Jonathan Gannon. And I'll start. Okay. I'll start to give you guys a minute to think about it. I think it's going to go up. I do. I think that last year was a byproduct of not having weapons. And I think he did the best that he could. At the end of the day, the points allowed weren't that bad. Do I think there were times that called for him to be more aggressive? Yes. I was really disappointed in some situations where I thought he should have. But He's got the ability to rush the passer now with Reddick, getting Brandon Graham back, having a healthy Josh Sweat. He's adding Jordan Davis to that defensive tackle group that already has Milton Williams, Fletcher Cox, and Javon Hargrave. You're nasty up front potentially. Your linebacking crew is solid to good now with Kaiser White, with Hassan, with Kobe Dean, and with TJ Edwards. You've got a solid corner on the other side of Slay. You've upgraded safety and to an extent with Tart. I don't love it, but I think this defense is going to be way better. I think it's going to look way better in the way that he approaches it. I think he's going to be a lot more aggressive, and I think he has the ability to throw constant fastballs at the opposing team. So I am a firm believer that it's going this way for Jonathan Gannon.
And if you say that, that means that I think it's going up also. But also that should also bode well for Jalen Hurts on the other side of the ball also. That means more opportunities for him to have some success. So, I mean, I think Gannon, he now has the toys to go out there and implement the defense that he wants to run now. He wanted a multi-front that he could basically switch from 4 down to 3 down to 5 down and do it seamlessly with the personnel that he has on the field. And I think he can do that now, especially with Davis being there. Just having Davis come in the game with Hargraves and Fletcher, that's a lot of beef sitting right there in the middle of that offense. Both guards are covered and the center is covered, and the biggest dude on the field is the guy lined up over your center. You're not going to be able to run the ball as consistently as you did when they were running that 4 down and the linebackers didn't know how to read or really start playing the ball until TJ Edwards was implemented as a starter and he started playing downhill, and they saw, all right, that's how you play the linebacker position. Guys are learning now. TJ Edwards is going to be better. Kaiser White will be in every down linebacker form, first through fourth.
On a 1-year deal, very motivated.
Very, very motivated. TJ Edwards is going to be motivated because they're trying to get him out of there. You got a rookie who's already pissed off because he won the 3rd round. They cost him like $4 or $5 million, probably $10 million in income from just rumors and saying that he wasn't healthy. He's a little pissed off, so he has a lot to prove. There are going to be so many factors. And then a Davion Taylor, who picked it up last year until he got hurt, was on an upward trend also. The middle of the defense will be solid. Of course, the front 7 or the front 4 or whatever, 5, the defensive line, they're definitely going to be good. Yeah. And I think at the corner position, it's probably the best tandem in the NFL right now. Safety position, if they run big nickel, I can see Epps, Tart, and what's his name, Harris, all playing well together and basically running whatever they wanted to run from a defensive standpoint. This will be a solid defense, and as long as he calls the game more aggressively, and the defense will be a product of how their coach thinks. If he's aggressive-minded, they're going to be aggressive-minded. If he's not saying he's being soft, but if he's not in an aggressive mindset, his players won't be in that aggressive mindset. So you'll get an unaggressive product on the field. He has to call the game aggressive, get those guys in an aggressive mindset.
Yeah, well said. How about you, Derek?
I believe in Jonathan Gannon. I believe that he was handcuffed in 2021 and had to play a very bland type defense because he didn't trust the personnel in some cases he had on the field in certain areas. Now he has been given an incredible amount of wealth in terms of proven players, high-profile college players, and I think he's going to elevate his calls and his schemes to a level of where this could be easily a top 10 defense in the National Football League. He was at the bottom last year, took a lot of criticism, rightfully so. It was clouded by the fact that they played a bunch of weak sisters down the stretch, so his defense didn't look as bad as it could have been, or as how exposed as it was against better competition throughout the regular season, and of course by Tampa Bay in the playoffs. So I believe Jonathan Gannon has heard all the criticism. He went to the coaches, went to the front office, said, you got to get me a better crop of players. They've done that. And now he's sitting behind closed doors like a mad diabolical scientist, coming up with all these different schemes and games that he can play with personnel come 2022. So for me, the arrow is definitely pointing up for Mr. Gannon.
Okay. All right. That was a fun little exercise right there. There's a couple we didn't even get to, which maybe we'll hit them tomorrow too. But we will certainly continue the Eagles discussion. Top of the hour, 2:00, we will be joined by Brian Westbrook, former Eagles running back. Looking forward to talking to B. West. We come back, we'll do a little Phillies and just kind of take some stock in where things are right now with them, because it has been a struggle from an offensive perspective of late. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let me tell you about Pro Action Restoration. If you have a home, you have a business, you have a property, and you've experienced the pain, the inconvenience of fire, water, smoke, mold damage to your property, you know how brutal it can be. And if you haven't, let me give you the name and the number and the email, or the address of where you can go and be prepared. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. I went through it at my parents' house a few years back, and they were there quickly. They cleaned it up. The crew was unbelievable, and the price was very reasonable. And the big thing is they are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company as well. You know how key that can be. Whether it's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. You can give them a call now, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online, proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Sports Take, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, each and every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 3 Eastern. hanging with you. Tell a friend, smash the like button, as we always say. All right, guys, little Phillies now, because they go down again last night, and the offense is nowhere to be found. And, you know, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and we'll get into some of the details of it, how much of the Harper thing, I mean, initially, to their credit, you know, even the game he got hurt, they ended up winning, and then the next day they won too. And that was, you know, character kind of stuff. But the reality maybe setting in on some of these guys that, you know, guess what? We don't have our big boy here. And our guys starting to press a little bit. You know, we've seen that the offense really be non-existent over the last couple of days. What do we think's going on here, Phillies-wise? This is just kind of the ebbs and the flows, you know, of a baseball season too.
That's exactly what it is. I think it's the ebbs and flows of baseball being a long sport. I mean, 162 games. You're going to have some lulls in the offensive side of the ball. I just thought that they would have more guys to pick them up. I mean, I understand what Bryce is to this organization, but damn, come on, we need more, man. I mean, we have people that can, you know, that can step up and that haven't stepped up. You know, I mean, JT, I can't say it enough. I gotta get something out of him, man. I don't have anything in him. I mean, he does nothing for anything, you know. Reese has played well besides his last two games. You know, he's just picking up also. I don't see the guys that I need to see stepping up and taking the lead. You know, Schwarber, you know, he can't be just the only fire plug we have. So,
yeah,
I mean,
and he didn't do anything last night, and the offense does nothing. Like, you can only ask him to bail you out so many times.
Exactly.
You know, as he has lately. But the guy that, frankly, guys, is driving me crazy is Castellanos. I mean, I think he's killing them. 0 for 4 again last night.
Get him fired. Oh, geez.
He's at 245 for the season. Here's what he is for June, okay? And the team's played great, very good baseball in June. He's hitting 212, which is 21 for 99. No home runs the entire month, and we're in the last day of June. 4 doubles and 9 runs driven in for a guy making $20 million a year. I mean, what he's doing is a disgrace. And
even if he wasn't making $20 million a year, it'd still be a disgrace, bro.
Yeah, and there's so many at bats where he's just reaching and flailing and bailing, and they're awful at bats. He's not even working the pitcher. I mean, he is a disaster right now. He's killing them in the middle of that lineup. He's killing them. And Barrett, you're right about JT too. I'm not arguing that. Those two guys in particular are the main culprits right now because they're supposed to be the big boys. I don't expect anything out of Moniak and some of those guys at this point.
We've seen them do it before.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We've seen them do it before. So since they're not doing it now, what's so different from last year to this year? I mean, come on, JT. I mean,
I know.
That's the irritating part because I have those expectations of him because, you know, I mean, you look at it last year, there are so many people that went to bat for him, man. So many. Bryce went to bat for him. I mean,
yeah, Bryce got him paid.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing flips in the front office.
Yep.
To get him back.
He was he's wearing the T-shirt every day. Pay JT.
Right.
JT. I mean, literally.
Right. I mean, how soon we forget about that? I mean, he doesn't owe him a little bit. Just give him a little bit more firepower. And I'm not a pro baseball player. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what it is to be in those type of situations for 162 games. I mean, I just even saying that, you know, I can see how taxing that would be. But give me something. You know what I'm saying? Something. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't it's getting very, very frustrating. I mean, it was just awful to watch the last couple of nights because so they go 1 for 10 on Tuesday. So last night, they only get 3 runners in scoring position the entire game. They go 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. So in their last 2 games, they are 1 for 13. They had 4 hits last night.
Well, they had the bases loaded in the second inning and got nothing out of it.
Moniak struck out to end the inning.
Here's what I will say. We're past the stage of crying about Bryce Harper not being in the lineup, okay? It is what it is. The Atlanta Braves are not at full strength. Where are they right now in the standings?
On fire.
The Mets have not been at full strength pitching-wise for much of the season. Where are they? Second best record in the National League. The Padres are missing 2 key cogs in their offensive lineup. Where are they? Bird Dog and the Dodgers. They've won 46 games and only lost 31. So stop with the excuses and the whining. You have guys in the lineup that should be hitting. The Phillies have pitching. The starting pitching has come around. For the most part, the bullpen has been okay. We've criticized this bullpen throughout May. The bullpen has turned it around. They've I believe up until last night, that was the first time in 6 games, I believe it was, the bullpen had given up a run. Okay.
Yeah, the previous night, but
okay.
Yeah,
The previous night. Okay.
Yep.
So we can't. We got to stop. We got to stop making excuses for this team. And the team has got to stop saying, "Well, we really miss Bryce Harper." Well, guess what? There are 4 or 5 other teams in the National League that are missing all-star caliber players that are finding ways to win games.
And I hate to say the Mets, but that's exactly what's happening.
No, they have. Mets have done it all year. Mets have done it without DeGrom. They've been doing it without Scherzer forever. They've been doing it all year. Atlanta hasn't had Acuna.
Nope.
Excuse me. There's no excuse. To me.
And these teams are winning 40 plus games, and they're bird dogging each other for the top of the division.
Yeah.
And the Phillies, every time the Phillies flop, we miss Bryce Harper. Well, guess what? You're going to miss Bryce for the next 5 to 6 weeks, hopefully no more than 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get it done because you're coming up against some heavyweight teams. You look at this Atlanta Braves team right now. They are one of the best hitting teams in the national in all of in all of baseball. They're number 2 in all of baseball in home runs. They have 114 base. 100. So when balls start flying out of the stadium, it's because they're that good in the lineup despite their deficiencies. They found a way to overcompensate the lack of starting pitching because their bullpen. They assembled a decent bullpen. This Phillies team has the capability, but they've been inconsistent. They had a great run. We had a great run when Thompson took over. Now we're starting to taper off a little bit.
Well, here's the trend, and this started way before Thompson took over, guys. But they played 76 games, right? They've been shut out 7 times, and they've scored 1 run 8 times. So 15 times out of the 76 games, 1 run or less.
Yep. Not good enough.
It can't happen,
Not good enough.
So there's no doubt the big boys who are getting paid deserve heat. There's no doubt. But the other issue you have here is you're playing guys who really aren't major leaguers. Mickey Moniak doesn't belong in the major leagues. He can't hit a curveball. He's a mess.
What about Stott?
Stott should probably be in the minors as well. So you're throwing out there, Doable stinks, and Vierling is probably a 4th or 5th outfielder. Like, you're running guys out every night at the bottom of the order who just aren't flat out good enough, and they're not major leaguers in my estimation. So it's like the big boy, like Barrett was dead on. If Schwarber isn't performing heroics almost every night, you're not doing anything. I mean, he single-handedly tried to carry you back in it on Tuesday, and they couldn't do it.
But, Rob, I will counter with this. The same guys that you just mentioned at the bottom of the order are the same guys we were applauding just a few weeks ago for coming up with key home runs, key base hits, driving in runs. So I'm not going to say –
What were they called again?
Huh?
What they call those guys? The young guys, what they call them? The romper room or whatever.
The daycare or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that they don't belong in the majors. I'm going to say – they still have a learning curve. Now, they produced – it's amazing how the complexion of this team changed as soon as they changed managers, and we're applauding all these young guys that are sticking in the lineup for coming up with key hits and carrying their weight as well. Now they're not, okay? But the bigger onus is on the big-name players who are not carrying the weight. If that middle of that lineup, if you got Real Muto and Castellanos hitting the baseball, we're not talking about the guys at the bottom of the lineup not getting hits right now because they were getting those hits 2 and 3 weeks ago consistently. We were sitting here amazed at the young guys who were coming through at the bottom end of the lineup, coming up with clutch hits for this team to get them over the hump.
So what's stopping? What happened?
That's Barrett. That's baseball, man. You know what? It's baseball. I don't care how good you are, unless you're the Yankees. And off night is a good night for the Yankees because that team's just loaded, period.
Judge is out of his mind.
Aaron Judge, oh, my goodness. Oh, you put
Aaron
Aaron –
Paul Bunyan, man.
Oh, he is.
Put Aaron Judge in a cleanup spot in this Phillies lineup. We're talking about the Phillies being 15 games over 500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been remarkable.
Now, I don't. As good as Bryce Harper is not Aaron Judge. But Bryce Harper makes a difference in this lineup. Okay, but you can still win. You have to find a way to win. You're playing Atlanta right now, and they've taken it to you 2 games in a row. You're going to have the Cardinals coming up twice in a span of 2 weeks. Now you say Washington is a weak series. I think the biggest series to watch is between Atlanta, the Cardinals, Toronto, Washington. Now Washington is down and out. Don't let this current slump carry over into that Washington, because I saw Washington take Milwaukee 3 out of 4 games.
Yes.
Washington rose up and hit the crap out of Milwaukee's pitching, and Milwaukee has a decent pitching staff.
Well, okay, listen, I hear you. I'm not arguing that. I mean,
so
look,
be careful.
You need every win you can get at this point. It doesn't matter who you're playing, and they did a good job taking 4 out of 5 from last week, whatever, 2 weeks ago. But you got to, absolutely.
And if you remember, there were a couple of those games in the Washington series. Washington could have won that game.
Well, so here's the question I have for you guys then. Their payrolls, whatever it is, $230 million. It's over the luxury tax. They went all in to try and win this year. Clearly, when you're, going through that center field cavalcade of guys and you're seeing so many players who are overmatched, it's looking like they need to make a trade. If I'm Dave Dombrowski and you got a month left now, a month and a day until the trade deadline, if you've already committed this much, or this pot committed to this team, do you go all in? Do you wait 3.5 weeks to see where you are? And if you're not doing well, you don't make a move with the hope that, with Harper being out, what do you do here, Barrett?
Well, I mean, see, Rob, that's tough because, I mean, in order for you to do anything, you would have to trade a key piece, like maybe a Reese Hoskins or something like that. One of your young backs.
You can't weaken that lineup anymore offensively.
Where else could you go?
Then you have to dip into the minors where you're not, the last thing you want to do is trade away some stud guy's going to be a stud pitcher, but that's where the rub comes in here. It's tough.
We just heard Jim Salisbury say they want to protect certain young players, especially at the single A level.
As they should.
If that is the case, I'm not giving up, because let's face it, the Phillies minor league system is not that strong to begin with. And if you have a couple of arms who are ready to come up here in another 2 years, 2 to 3 years, especially if you find out in 2 to 3 years that what you tried with this particular lineup and exceeding the cap, it didn't work, and you're going to have to rebuild it all over again. Well, guess what? You're going to have to rely on some of these young arms to come up. If you deplete your minor league system, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the only thing to get back to what you were talking about, are you all in on making a trade? The only area I would make a trade right now, and I don't know if you can, is this pitching, because I think Texas and the Braves have shown us, if you have the right pitching, you can be in a lot of ball games.
Yeah.
You can neutralize a power hitting team if you have the right collection of pitching. And I do think with the way the starting pitching has come around for this team, and even the bullpen at times, if you can get one more arm out of that bullpen, it can help stabilize the back end of the Phillies pitching staff for you down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, look, and you're in a tough spot here because you don't know about Eflin. You don't know what his what his future lies here with that knee, and he's had so many issues with it. So yeah, it's a tricky. It's a tricky dance for Dave Dombrowski here for over the next month. What you end up doing.
No question about it.
Let's finish the Eagle stuff off, because we're having some fun with that, with the arrow up, arrow down. We didn't get to everything, so I want to finish it off here. Isaac Seumalo, Barrett, I'll start with you. Your wheelhouse, offensive line. He's a guy who is, could have some competition for his gig over at that spot. What do you think ends up happening there with him? Is he going up, going down this season?
I think he's going up. Before he got hurt last year, we were talking about him in a conversation of being a Pro Bowl caliber left guard. Mm-hmm. I still think that he is the better of the guys in the roster right now. I think he even out edges Dickerson as far as his production at the guard position. I think he is a little better than Dickerson. Dickerson has a lot of learning to do, and he has a lot of football to play before he's going to reach up and be right there with Seumalo. Seumalo's a good player, and he's an unheralded player. You don't hear his name. That's really the level of how you have to gauge an offensive lineman. When you don't hear his name, and consistently for the past 3 years, you haven't heard Seumalo's name at all, because he's consistent. He goes and does his job. He makes things happen, man. And usually when you hear an offensive tackle or an offensive guard's name or center, you hear it because they're doing something wrong. You rarely get praise from those guys up front because nobody really watches those guys. Well, I've been watching the offensive line. I see how good he is, and I see his strengths. He's a really good inline blocker. He blocks zone well. His pass rushing is pretty good also. So they're not going to miss a beat, and this is why I say that they are the best line in football right now, because their guards are strong up front. They have the best center in the league and the 2 best tackles in the league. So, when you have the 2 best tackles and the best center in the league, if you could just get your guards to play just okay, and these 2 will play at a high level, you basically have you basically just sign her up their whole line, man, to the Pro Bowl.
How about you, Derek? Up or down for Isaac?
It's got to be up because, you always talk about how one man's injury is another man's opportunity. Well, he gets injured, and all of a sudden Landon Dickerson finds his spot at that left guard position. So now you're going to move Isaac Seumalo over to the right side, and he's got some people knocking at his door. So I think that's enough motivation for him to play at the level that we think he's capable of playing at, which was that Pro Bowl level we were just talking about a season ago. Isaac knows if he wants to be here, he's going to have to shine in a big way. You got 2 Pro Bowlers playing on either side of you. So even if you make a mistake, you got guys who can cover for you, but the film will show these deficiencies eventually. So you want to make sure you're held accountable for playing in between 2 Pro Bowlers on that right side. So I think Isaac Seumalo is motivated enough to know that if he screws up, you got a rookie sitting there waiting for you. You got Opeta sitting there waiting to take your job from you. So you're going to have to rise to the challenge. And I think Jeff Stoutland will get the best out of Seumalo this season.
I think he's a really good player. I think he's an underrated player. I don't think he gets enough love. We're always looking to replace him for some reason, and I don't quite know why. And I know it's not a glamour position, guard. It's right. And I get that. Like nobody's going to be. You don't see a lot of Seumalo jerseys in the stands. I understand that, but I think the guy is a really solid player.
I think he's a better player than Big V, and Big V parlayed his career moving on to make a $50 million contract somewhere else.
Detroit, baby.
So I think he's a much better player, much more fundamentally sound player than Big V was. So the talent is there. Now you just have to do it.
Let's go. Let's go defense here for a minute. Let's talk about Anthony Harris at the safety spot. I'll tell you first off, I think down. I'm not a big fan. I didn't think he had a good year last year. I think he's here almost by default, if you will.
That's Gannon's boy.
But Jonathan Gannon likes him. I know that. I'm an arrow down guy. I'm just not a big fan, period. That would have applied to last year. It would have applied to this year. Where are you at, Barrett?
I'm gonna go the same route. I think it's an arrow down. In fact, I told you guys before that I thought Marcus Epps was the better of the 2. As we were going forward. And I thought that what Marcus showed me gave me enough to say, all right, we can play him at that deep safety. We can play him in the box. I think Harris is, I don't know, man, he's a guy. And that's what I think of. He's just a guy. Not saying the guy is bad. Not saying the guy is good. I just didn't think he had the coverage skills to be in the box or to handle one-on-one type of situations where he had to cover. I didn't see him as aggressive enough to be in the box to come downhill and make, tackles downhill. I didn't see that. I didn't see his aggressive nature with that. I just didn't see him as – I just see him as a guy. He's not going to blow you off the screen. He might be like, if you can almost make the same description of what I just said for Isaac Seumalo. If you don't hear his name, that means he's having a great game. Well, I was hearing Harris' name, but it was in bad situations where he was either getting beat or came down and missed the tackle or something like that. So I just didn't think he played consistently enough to be a starter there. But hey, what do I know? You know what I'm saying? I'm just an offensive lineman. I
think you make a lot of good points. How about you, Derek?
I think Harris is on a hot seat. You can't have premier players at every position, but obviously they brought him back for a reason. Obviously they feel he's serviceable for what he does. But I do think if he doesn't hold up his end, he could be out of this soon. You have Epps, you have Tart now. So I do think Harris is on a hot seat. I'm not going to say a short leash, but I will say the leash could tighten around him real quick if he doesn't produce early on, and they're going to give Epps more run. I think Harris is the lead right now along with Tart, but I do believe also that as Barrett has talked about time and time again, I'm not sold on Epps just yet. I still need to see a lot more, but I do think this organization Thinks the kid has a lot of promise, and I do think they want to get him on the field sooner rather than later, which means if Mr. Harris doesn't hold up his end of the deal, then they're going to give that to Epps. It'll be Epps and Tart on the back end.
Okay. All right. Last one for time purposes, and we have Brian Westbrook coming up at the top of the hour. Just a programming reminder here. Brandon Graham, what's not to love about the guy? But I'm talking about just from a production standpoint at 34 years old, coming off an Achilles, at a defensive line that's going to have certainly more weapons across the board. Are we believing that Brandon, the needle is headed up or down, D-Gun?
When you're 34 coming off a major injury like that, that's a day-to-day thing, man, because I've seen too many players, especially when you hit 30, 31, 32, come off an injury like that, and all of a sudden it's re-injured again, or because they favored one so much, the other one blows out next a year later. Yeah, you know how I feel about Brandon Graham as a person and as a player, but to use the advantage of Mr. Ellis, I'm going to say the needle's pointing sideways at Mr. Graham. I'm not going to say up. I'm not going to say down. Okay. Brandon Graham desperately wants to get double-digit in sacks before his career is all said and done. He came close. What was it? 2 years ago, he came close. 3 years ago. And then all of a sudden, the last 5-6 games, the sack total just stagnated, and he didn't come close to it. I know he wants it desperately. I don't think in this scheme with this personnel, this plethora of personnel and talent they have on the D-line will allow him to get double-digit sacks, but I do think he can be very effective in this defensive scheme, and obviously getting younger players in. And as Brandon told us not too long ago, if I play less snaps and we win, I don't care one iota. I just think he's going to be a great contributor on this defense. I'm going to say the needle sideways on him.
All right. And his career high is 9.5.
Yes, 9.5. Yeah.
That was 3 years ago, right?
17. Yep. How about you, Barry?
I'm gonna have to say the same thing. I'm not. I can't say it's gonna be down because I've seen how hard he's worked. I know how hard of a work ethic he has. He's gonna work his butt off to get back at least to what he was before he left, if not in better shape, because he realizes, this is a make it or break it year for him. This is the last year on this deal. So it's going to be one of those, you gotta pay the cost to be the boss. And with the scheme they run, the schematics of how he's going to be used, he's not going to get a lot of opportunities to go out there and impose his will on people. So he has to take advantage of every opportunity he does get. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be, it's gonna be status quo for me. He's gonna stay right there in the middle until he sees, how he's gonna. So I see how he's gonna be used. Number one, how many reps he's gonna get. Number two, and how will they really implement his skill set? He's not just a guy that you can put out there and for. You can't just put him out there and think that he's not going to make some things happen. Can he fit within the scheme work of what they're trying to do? That's what I want to see.
I think his arrow is going to go up. I think he's going to be helped by having help, by them being able to throw fastballs and rotating in and out. I think he's going to have a really good year. I really do. I'm not just saying that because we all like him. Of course, we all like him, but I do feel like he's going to have a good year. So I will go arrow up on Brandon Graham. All right, let's step aside, guys. We'll come back. Brian Westbrook, can't wait to talk to B West. He will join us when we get back. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis.
News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Yo, baby, we are back. Welcome in, everybody. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. We are Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We'll be joined in a couple minutes by Brian Westbrook, former Eagle. Guys, so during the break, I'm looking at B West's stats, right? Of course, we all know, was underdrafted, I guess is the word that people use, for times coming out of Villanova, maybe to get the respect that he deserved because he put up insane numbers at Villanova, but it wasn't the Division I level. You forget, maybe you don't. I mean, just what an all-around threat this guy was. I was looking at his 05 and 06 seasons. Unbelievable. I mean, So he rushes, actually 06, 07, rushes for 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards, catches basically 700 yards and 700 yards in both of those two seasons. Essentially, he's like a 2,000-yard all-around guy in those two seasons. And he was just, I thought, utilized perfectly in Andy Reid's system. Screens, the space kind of plays. I thought Big Red utilized him to perfection when he was in his prime.
Well, he's one of those versatile guys. You look at him, and he almost looks too small until you look at how stocky he is, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what made him such a weapon because he was hard to bring down. He was hard to. As one of the best assets that he had is his ability to keep from getting hit.
Low center of gravity.
Yeah, you never got a solid shot on him. That's why his career was the way it was. You never got a real solid shot on him.
He reminds me of Russell Westbrook. Reminds me of that too. I think those guys both have that trait. You know what I mean? As much as they put themselves in harm's way, sometimes you felt like the defense never got a clean one on him, man.
Yep. And that's the way he played, man. And he was explosive. He was fast, faster than what people thought, man. He was quick, was fast, but his hands just made him such a weapon because you had to allocate real coverage people to handle him out of the backfield. You couldn't just have a regular linebacker or a regular safety against him. You had to have somebody out there that could literally cover a wide receiver in order to stop him.
Yeah, he was an account for guy. Like, opposing defensive coordinators, man, how are we handling Westbrook this week? He was that guy. That's for sure. So we'll be talking with him in a little bit. I guess while we're waiting for Brian to get up here. By the way, one of the things we're going to do tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to, we're going to go basically toughest to weakest in each conference as far as divisions go. Okay, tomorrow. Well, just a little taste of what one of the things we're going to be doing tomorrow, with our show. Obviously, in addition to that, a lot of discussion tomorrow, regarding the NBA free agency and what happens there. Phillies finish up their series with the Braves as well. So we'll have a lot. And we may have a very special guest tomorrow. Right, guys? I don't know if we can confirm that, but we may have a very special guest tomorrow that you will want to stick around for.
Great story in terms of what he's been doing since he retired as a professional athlete. Great story. Yeah. Well,
when we get word of that, we'll put it out. If it's not before the end of the show, via social media as well. So,
Westbrook, he's wrapping up in his camp. He said, give him 10 minutes. He says 2:15 works. I said, yes, sir. So you'll see us to 2:15.
All right, perfect. Yeah. So we'll
Well, he has a camp out there, helping kids. It's more so a camp of just people believing in him and believing in themselves. As far as even in the classroom. It's a really good camp for kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good for him giving back. All right, well, while we're at it, then we might as well finish up the arrow up and down. We didn't get to all of them, so that's good. How about Lane Johnson? Lane Johnson, who is, had to step away from the game a little bit last year to work on some things, came back and had a monster year once he got back. But you tend to forget that he missed some, time early in the season last year. Comes back. I think he's still an arrow up guy, guys. I really do, and I think he's such a hard worker in the offseason. Really, for me, if it comes down to that ankle holding up, he's absolutely an arrow up guy. Where do you guys see things with Lane?
Of course, his arrow he's always going to be up, you know what I'm saying, for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the more dominant tackles in the league, just put it like that.
Has had a hell of a career. A crazy story considering guy was a quarterback and just kept outgrowing the position, became a tight end, kept outgrowing the position, became an offensive lineman. It's really hard to fathom that guy was a quarterback at one point. It's
right.
How about you, Derek?
Definitely up. I just saw the other day this man in his barn, which he converted into an incredible weight room, bench pressing 550 pounds. I'm like, shh. All right, and you look at Lane, and I know Lane personally. He looks like just a big old country boy, just happy with life, just and he's had to overcome a lot of different things. But when he puts on that helmet and those pads, that man is a beast. He didn't give up a sack last year. When you think about it, okay.
Right.
And when you look at some of the quality DNs you have to play week in and week out, he didn't give up one sack in 2021. And he takes a lot of pride in his game. Nobody works any harder than he does. There's no question it's up. I think Lane Johnson, if he's out there for the whole season, if he stays healthy, he will be he will be playing at a Pro Bowl level in 2022.
I'm a firm believer in Lane, and Derek, that shouldn't just be glossed over. The fact he didn't give a sack up last year, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
bro, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Rob, not to cut you off, but I just confirmed that tomorrow we will have the Axeman. Jeremiah Trotter will join us at 1:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, baby. All right.
What a great story about what he's been doing in the Dominican Republic since he's retired. And who better to give us a perspective on a linebacking situation than who was probably one of the best downhill linebackers to play the game in his heyday.
I can't wait to hear his take on the Kobe Dean, man. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about that. And by the way, too, his boys are studs. Jeremiah is at Clemson and Josiah's got one more year at St. Joe's Prep. He'll be at West Virginia the following year. So he's got two little beasts there
man. I can't wait, man, for the NFL. The college football season to start because, I do a lot of Big 12 games. So I'm looking forward to seeing this youngest son, Trot's youngest son. I did a couple West Virginia games last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So, it's gonna be fun. I used to do Trot and I used to do radio together, and I'd bring my son in. He'd bring Jeremiah in. He wouldn't. Well, I don't think it was Josiah, but they would hang out and play together, and he'd show me videos of this kid when he was like 7, just mauling people, man. And I'm like, whoa, this dude. I mean, I am not kidding you. Like, the kid was like a man against boys. Like, it was insane.
Hold on, it was crazy because he lived in this area, so the kids played at GVS. That's Voorhees.
Yeah,
and I can remember going to practice or going to games and watching, and his youngest son shouldn't have been playing on the team because he was too young.
Right.
But he and his brother were so competitive that, you couldn't keep one away from the other on the same field. So his brother's playing up so he could play with his brother. And both of those guys sitting there at linebacker. And I can remember there were literally times where they couldn't run the scheme. They couldn't run their offense because those two were making every single play.
Well, think about it. They were big, athletic, and they also knew they had such great football instincts from Trot.
Yep.
They knew where every play was going. Like they were just their football IQ was off the charts,
bro.
On top of everything else.
They would go line up like take turns lining up in the A gap. Like if they knew a play was going one way, the guy to that side would go line up in the A gap and shoot the gap. And it got to a point like it wasn't fair. Like the township was almost like, hey, could you let those guys play back a little bit? It was that bad.
Oh,
it was that bad.
Yeah. So we'll talk to Trot about that and Derek, like you said, what he's doing. And there's so many things to get into, man. With
he used to tell me when I used to go out there, he used to tell me, B. Brooks, they cheating, man. Why they cheating on my sons? I was like, Trot, what are you talking about? They can't run a play, man. The other kids need to get the experience, man. Your sons are out there wreaking havoc. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah. Well, he would always, so he'd give me his phone, like, check out this joker, as what he would say about his son.
Yep.
I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, oh my God, dude. And he was a running back too back then. And he's killing kids. I mean, it was crazy. Anyway, so that's
just like his dad, man. I mean, I'll tell you a story and he'll tell you the story too, man. Trot, when he first got to camp, when he first got there as a freshman, a rookie, he didn't know the defense or anything. So we'd be on 9-on-7. And he would pick one guy on the offensive line and just punish that guy all day. All day. He just, like, I remember when Ian Beckles, man, he was hitting Ian Beckles so hard. Ian Beckles just took his helmet off and went and sat down on the sideline. Man, I'm not doing any more 9-on-7s. Well, that day came when it was my turn.
Oh boy.
Bro, I made some business decisions.
Your hamstring started to hurt that day. I got to sit out, coach.
I had to double team to go to the backer. Yeah. And instead of me going off on a double team, I stayed locked in on the 3 technique. so Ray Rose said, run it again. I said, what? What? We know what the play is.
Yeah.
Run it again. Hey, coach, we don't need to run that play again. I know I got to go block shots this time. We got it now. Okay, we got it. Run it again.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
I hit the double team, ran up on him, and he just lit. I mean, he just, boom. And I just did like this.
Yeah, one of those.
And hugged him and went straight back. Boom! He said, run it again. Not today, coach. We didn't run it again today.
And he was like, you see now the linebackers sometimes can tend to be a little bit lighter than what they were, because there's a lot more coverage.
265 all day.
Yeah, and every bit of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a gigantic. It's crazy, man. He's listed at 6'1", 262. But probably played even bigger than that.
No question. That usually you're 10 pounds heavier than what it says. He was every bit of 265, 270.
Man, yeah.
Coming downhill. Now, he wouldn't cover. He couldn't cover anybody.
No.
He couldn't cover.
Would punish you in the run game.
Yeah, he couldn't cover. He was cold. You know what I'm saying? But hey, other than that, bro, he was going. Oh my goodness, it was times, man. I was like, man, look, coach said run it again. I'm not running that play again. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
I'm gonna go sit down over here for a little bit. You know what
Stephen F. Austin, he is where Trot came out of.
Yeah, out of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so he'll join us tomorrow at 1:30. So program reminder for that. Again, we'll have B. Brian Westbrook in about 3-4 minutes. He's just wrapping up his camp. All right, let me throw one more at you guys, since we've been doing the arrow up, arrow down. James Bradbury, up or down?
I'm hoping up.
Free agent from the Giants, cornerback. He'll start alongside Darius Slay.
One of those guys, 1-year deal, a lot to prove. And we, the reason why guys, and it's gone through the league, that if you come in and prove yourself, Howie Roseman takes care of these guys. I mean, he's done every single time. Tim Jernigan, Alshon Jeffrey. If you come in and prove and you're everything that you said you were going to be and they brought you in to be, they'll sign you to a lucrative contract. So all these guys are taking Howie at his word, and they're signing here because of Howie. You know what I'm saying? They're signing here because they know if they play up to expectations, that he's going to sign up to a lucrative deal. So a lot of these guys are going to be playing, trying to get that money, man. And he's one of them. You know, he said he's pissed off because he was one of the elite cornerbacks. In fact, he was the #1 cornerback that, you know, this year when he became a free agent. Well, he's got a lot to prove, man. And plus, you know, playing alongside of you know, a big play Slay, you know, iron sharpens iron. You know, big play Slays love to talk. And they're going to be, you know, they're not going to want to go to big play Slay. They're going to try to go to the other side. And that's nobody to slouch up over there. So as an offensive coordinator, pick your poison. Who you want to throw it? You want to throw it Slay, who had, 4 or 5 turnovers last year, interceptions? Or you want to go to Bradbury, who was potentially going to be one of the better corners in the league, had a down year because he was on a terrible team. Now he's on I think it's a good team now. I mean, this is his proving ground. You know, he's going to get tested early until he stops the bleeding. And once he shows that he's that guy, then you know, you got to pick your poison after that. But he'll be tested first out of the gate.
D-Gun?
Wasn't that long ago that he was mentioned in the same breath as one of the best cover corners in the game. And he got caught up in a money situation with the Giants. You know, the Giants didn't want to pay him because they're moving in a different direction. So here's a guy on a 1-year contract who's used to getting lucrative deals. Now he's playing on a 1-year contract, and he still feels he has a lot to play for, and there's a lot more money out there for him to get. And he wants to prove that, yes, he is that guy who was talked about as one of the best corners in the game not that long ago. So I think the arrow's pointing up for him. He's in a scheme now where I think the front seven, if it's played properly, can take a lot of pressure off the corners. I think the corners, him and Slay, will be allowed to play more man-to-man coverage now in Jonathan Gannon's scheme this year. And so I think James Bradbury is a perfect complement to Darius Slay on that opposite side. If they can stay healthy, I think they could be arguably one of the top 2 or 3 cornerback tandems in the National Football League.
All right, look who we have. The man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Brian Westbrook. B. West. You see that jersey hanging up behind him, man. What's up, Brian?
Can you guys see? What's up, fellas? My big old head is in the way, so you probably can't see it.
I agree with the big old head part.
Hey, we got 3 giant heads here, man, so don't sweat it, all right?
Let me show y'all my Villanova helmet right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
How do you know we were getting to that?
Let me tell you, one of, if not the greatest non-first-round picks in Eagles history is Brian Westbrook out of nowhere. B. West, walk me through this for a minute. When you're at DeMatha, right? I know you were a 2-sport star, hoops and football. There was a knee injury, or else you might not have ended up at Villanova, right? You probably would end up at a big time, whatever we call big time D1, right?
Yeah. So, you know, really my freshman year, I played on the freshman team, and for whatever reason, I didn't get any playing time, like 0 plays. Like, I mean, it's hard to imagine that you can't play on special teams, offense or defense, not 1 play all season, but I was able to accomplish that my freshman year. And I thought I was good. So that just tells you how good DeMatha is as far as the talent-wise. But my sophomore year, I got much more opportunities. My junior year, I was just being recruited by every school in the country. You know, every big football program. Most of them wanted me to play cornerback. They just saw me as an athlete, probably not a running back. And then that summer of my junior year, going into my senior year, I tore my ACL. I stepped in the groundhog hole, tore my ACL. And in 1996, that was a year-long injury.
Right.
So when teams hear that you tore your ACL, they're like, "Hey, I don't want him. I can't afford to give a scholarship to a kid that won't be able to play for a year." And so, you know, I most of those schools said no. And so really, came down to 3 schools: University of Maryland, who was not very good; University of Richmond, and I had a couple of my buddies go there and play running back at Richmond that went to DeMatha with me, and Villanova University. And kind of as the story goes, Villanova came and saw me play basketball, and the coach, Stan Drayton, who's now the head coach at Temple,
yeah,
he said, "Listen, man, we want you to come." You know, he kept coming to the games, and Morgan Wooten pulls me into his office. He said, "Listen, Villanova's here. I'm 100% sure they're going to offer you a scholarship." Now, this is during basketball season, right before a basketball game. So in my mind, being a Big East kid, watching Iverson, watching Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning, I'm thinking Big East basketball doesn't get any bigger than that. And this is crazy. And so the whole time I'm excited, jumping for joy. My coach is looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, Coach, aren't you happy? He was like, no, they don't. Of course, they don't want you to play basketball. They want you to play football. And I'm like, at the time, I didn't even know Villanova had a football program, to be honest. It was a good shot. And listen, when I looked into it, when you look at Villanova as a school, it's obviously a great school, great business program, which I was in. But more importantly than that, it has a great network of people. And that's what, I'm seeing now. The network of people just in and around Villanova has been awesome. I mean, over the last 20 years, I've just continued to reap the benefits of that decision. So it was a good decision. Ended up being a good decision.
I never knew the basketball
I never heard this
part
thing.
of that, man. That's awesome.
Hey, B. West, in a perfect world, had you not blown out your knee, what college would you have picked? When you look back at all those scholarship offers you had, every kid who wants to play football for a college says, you know what? This was my dream school to play for. Who would you have picked?
That was back in the day when Florida was just awesome. Yep. And Warwick Dunn had just left Florida State. Similar size, kind of quickness type of thing. And so in my mind, and obviously Warwick Dunn is a different speed level, right? I mean, he's just super fast. In my mind, I was a great candidate to go to Florida State and be the next running back there. So that's probably where I wanted to go. Obviously, they were one of the best schools in the country at the time, probably paying their players the most in the country. Villanova doesn't pay, but just so we know. We get that clear. But yes, I probably would have at least tried to get to Florida State.
Well, Brian, before just stay on Villanova for 1 second. Jay Wright stepped away, as we all know, and I know how tight you are with Jay and the program. What are your thoughts on the way that shook out for Jay?
Great career. Jay Wright came in, I want to say my junior or senior year at Villanova, probably my junior year at Villanova. So to be at one school and have the type of success that he had for 20 plus years, I mean, that's just amazing in and of itself. I didn't even know this. And when I was with Jay a couple of months ago, he said, listen, there was a couple of years in the early 2000s when it was either win or you're out of here type of thing for Jay Wright. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if that happens, then you don't have 2016, 2018 for the championship. But what Jay has meant to the program has been something special. Jay, let me say this. Villanova is a special place, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the one and done guys. You're going to get the guys that may be at McDonald's All-Americans, but they're kind of on the lower end of McDonald's All-Americans. Mm-hmm. But those are guys who are going to go to school for 3 or 4 years. In this past season was Jay Wright's best coaching job. I'm talking about better than both of the national championship teams. He was less talented this year than he was in either one of those years. And somehow he coached his way back into the Final Four. He got 5th and 6th year guys playing against lottery picks to be able to win games by guards that are 6'1", 6'2", backing guys down to the back, pump faking, using their fundamental up. And I mean, that's coaching. That's
6'7"
guys
centers
that have been in the system for so long have figured out how to play together. I mean, listen, I appreciate all that Colin Gillespie did, Player of the Year, all this different stuff. But there were so many more athletic teams out there than what Villanova put on the floor this year, and they still made it to the Final Four. And that's all Jay Wright. That's his ability to get the best out of his players. And what he means to that program is this. When you drive past Villanova now, you see the buildings, you see the new this, the new that, the new Finneran Center, that's because of Jay Wright. That's because of his impact in those winning years that he was able to win. And that's why they're also keeping him very close to the program. And so I'm just happy that he's staying close to the program. Obviously, his impact has been huge at Villanova.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, man. I'm sure you've heard from, what Miles Sanders said about, all these All-Americans, on the squad. I mean, do you see anything wrong with him being that confident and the guys around him, or should he have been quiet? Because it's not exactly like a Vince Young statement, but it's almost at that Vince Young level. What do you think about that, especially with Miles Sanders being a young guy?
Yeah, he's a young guy. I mean, I like, to me, trash talk, kind of bragging never bothered me at all. Listen, as long as you're working to back it up, that team with Vince Young is not as talented as this team, truth be told. So it never really bothered me. Now, the one thing I know about Miles Sanders now is this. He got to stay healthy. He hasn't produced to the level that I think his talent should be at. But I also believe that he works his butt off. And so as he's out there grinding to get better every year, if you want to say a little bit, I'm cool with that. But now you got to go back it up. So if that's how your method to your madness have to back it up, put pressure on yourself and on the team, I'm cool with that. I mean, if that Miles wants to do that, I'm cool with it. It doesn't necessarily bother me probably as much as it bothers other people. But I'm also a guy like, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we're successful. I'm going to do my job. And now if everybody else feels the same way, then collectively we're going to be better. We're going to be a much better football team. And I think that's what he was getting at.
Okay, B, let's stay with Miles for a minute, because this is your wheelhouse and you had to go through this a few times in your career. This is a money year for him, okay? Now, obviously, he's thinking that I've got to prove doubters wrong who claim I'm not durable. Mm-hmm. I know how running backs are perceived in the National Football League right now. They're a dime a dozen. They're not the big money players that they once were years ago. What should his mindset be every day he steps on that field, whether it's practice or a game, to prove people wrong, but not step out of the concept of what they're trying to achieve as a team? Because it's very easy to start thinking about, I'm playing for me, and stepping out of the concept of playing for the team and trying to help a team win.
You guys are probably going to hate this answer because it's so basic, but I truly believe it. As a player, there was a point in my career where, of course, the big focus was my team, but also the smaller everyday focus was, how good can Brian Westbrook be? Mm-hmm. How can I push myself to the point where I'm exhausted every single day? And I also knew that if I exhaust myself on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday becomes easy. Mm-hmm. And as a player, you get that starting role. That some guys, they start to coast a little bit. Okay, I'm the starter, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And Miles has to, and I don't doubt that he is, but he has to push himself to exertion every single day so that the games become easy. The other part about that, and again, I don't doubt him saying, I'm injured, too injured to play. But there's a point in everyone's career, and B, you understand this, that you're about 60%, and it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, right.
Back in the day, now this is back in the day, they don't do this anymore. Back in the day, that's 60%. You take the shot and you shoot up to 90, 95%.
Yeah. Look toward all.
Yeah, those days are over. I don't think they can do that anymore. But there's a point where you're around 60% when things just don't feel good. I remember, I don't know if it's a playoff game or not. We were up in the Meadowlands and we were walking to the bus, and I could barely even walk. I mean, I barely could even walk. We were warming up, and I'm just limping throughout the warm-ups. And the game time came. That was the game. I caught a couple touchdowns, ran a couple touchdowns. It just worked out, and I don't know where the heck it came from. It just worked out. Miles has to start having some of those types of moments because injuries are what's slowing him down a little bit. And if you're not on the field enough, and plus you're not touching the ball enough when you're on the field, it starts to make you at the end of the day, it's going to affect his money. So he has to start pushing through some of those injuries just a little bit. Being able to play is going to be critical for him. Talent is there. I've seen the talent in pieces. I've seen the talent in moments. Continuously showing that talent is going to be the deal for Miles. And if he can do that, then he'll have a special season.
Bro, this man, our chat, man, they ruthless, dog.
These people are brutal, man.
Daz Deals just said Miles Blue Tint Sanders. Bro, they're savages, man.
It's rough. It's rough in these streets, man. It is rough in the chat streets, man. There's no doubt.
How about Jeremiah Butler talking goofy to the media? Shut the F up and get to work.
Oh, boy.
You know what? I think the other thing will help Miles, and this is something he's just not good at. And I've told Miles this to his face. I've mentioned to him before. The guys that are getting paid, just think about the guys that are getting paid in the NFL. Derrick Henry, but Miles Sanders is not 6'3", 6'4", 250.
No.
Other than that, is Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara. What do they do well? They expand the field by catching the ball.
Yeah.
And to truly get the type of money that I think everybody wants, every running back wants $8 to $16 million a year. To get the money that he wants, he's going to have to develop in that passing game. And, as of yet, he hasn't developed that skill enough to be effective in the passing game. If he can develop that and then use his breakaway speed a little bit more, I think he can get paid. And hopefully stay here in Philadelphia.
Brian, you were a very complete running back. I mean, you could catch it, you could run it, you could block. And the blocking part, I think, is overlooked sometimes. Did that come natural, or was that your great coaching at DeMatha, at Nova? Like, you were that guy when you got to the Eagles, right? I mean, how did you develop all phases of the game?
You know, I was at a point in the league where right before the transition to catching and running backs, right? I was with Eddie George and Jerome Bettis and, you know, Andrew and James, where those guys were getting 25 carries every game. That was the style. Now, as I go back to Villanova, they said to me, listen, we're going to hand you the ball, but we really want to throw it. So you're going to have to understand defenses. You're going to have to understand coverages. Where are the safeties at? What are the cornerbacks doing? They gave me the opportunity to go play in the slot. If I go to Florida State, if I go to one of these big schools, they're probably saying, hey, we're going to hand you the ball. We got All-Americans to play out there.
Right.
But because I was at Villanova, that allowed me to hone some of those skills, learn some different things. And then when I got into the NFL, Andy Reid said, okay, well, here's some things we can try with you. Deuce is going to be the running back your first couple of years. Maybe we can put you in the slot. Maybe we can put you in different positions so we can use your speed and versatility. And then he was like, well, we'll try you at running back too. Since you are a running back, we'll give you the ball every now and then. And I was able to show my skill there. And that's how it kind of happened for me. But, you know, those types of things, those skill sets do not happen overnight. They are not just developed by accident. Those are things just like accommodating, just like, you know, offensive line work. Those are skills that you work on daily so that, and when you get in the game situation, it comes natural for you. I was able to develop that over time.
Yeah. You know, I look at this team, and potential is everywhere, man. But how much can they rely on potential? You know what I'm saying? Especially with they don't do as much. You know what I'm saying? I hate to be that old man, you know, get off my yard, but I don't see them working enough. I mean, they work hard when they're there, but how much time do they spend there? You know what I'm saying? Like to forego a week and not bring guys in, just at least be around, even if you don't practice hard or don't do it, just having guys there in the building. They don't do that anymore. How do you get your bodies hardened to the rigor of playing in the NFL season if you're not there enough? I mean, that might be some of the problem what's going on with Miles and also a lot of guys there.
Well, I'm at the point in my life that potential means nothing to me anymore. Like, yeah, you got potential. That's cool. Let me know when you're going to develop into what you can be, you know? And obviously when you talk about young kids, it's different than pros, but potential, I need more. I need you to show me what that potential is leading to. So I need that. You know, I was just having this conversation with Ike Reese and Brian Dawkins the other day about practice. And I remember my rookie year, we had 3 days. I remember Andy Reid, which, I mean, this again, we're talking 20 years ago. Things are totally different now. These coaches are talking about the analytics. What did the stats say about practice versus rest? And what's better for you? We're from the old school where there was no rest. You get the rest in between these 50 practices that we're going to run. And so it's a little bit different now. You're dealing with different athletes now. More specialized athletes, so it's totally different. I hear what you're saying, B. I don't know. Brian Dawkins said this, if you're a boxer, then we just had this conversation. If you're a boxer, but you never spar, right? How do you get your body, your face, your chin hardened to a punch? If I go out there right now and get tackled by somebody, I probably fall over and die.
Right.
In a long time, right? In order to get used to being tackled and to tackle somebody, you got to go tackle people. That's what you got to go do. Brian Dawkins said it like this. He said, there's a point where I got to launch my body into you to try to knock that man over. When I find that point, the only way for me to find that point is through practice. And if you don't do it in practice, then when do you do it? Now, my next question with him I remember my rookie year when you found your launch angle at my head in practice. I didn't even have the ball. I was in the third string offense, and you just launched at me. Oh, don't worry about it, Wes. I was just playing. I was like, no, you rung my bell in practice. I wasn't even paying attention. So that's just the way it is for the young guys. But
I was just playing. Okay.
Yeah, I was just playing. Don't worry about it. I'm worried.
Oh,
about
my goodness.
Things are different.
I got to ask you, Brian. I mean, it's required by the FCC. How good is Jalen Hurts? What do you anticipate from Hurts this year?
That's the big question mark. I saw Jalen Hurts on Saturday, and all he was talking about was how much he's working out, what he's done. I don't doubt that. I think just like Miles Sanders, he's a worker. The big question is, have we seen anybody take the jump in the career? And you guys have been around game combined over 100 years, especially D Gun. D Gun is 75. So I got to talk bad about D Gun because he always texts me
about
crazy.
time you got a shot in there. Nice. Yeah.
But in your combined time watching the game, have we seen a quarterback take the jump that we actually need Jalen Hurts to take? I mean, I can't really remember that many guys that said, okay, my arm got stronger from year to year.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that many guys that said my anticipation has gotten a little better. We've seen some guys get a little bit better, but Josh Allen got a lot better, but he had all the stuff. He had all the ingredients. He couldn't put him in a pan and stir him up. Yeah. And he finally figured that out, and now he's an MVP choice. Jalen Hurts lacks a little bit of arm strength. I still think he lacks, because of that arm strength, lacks some confidence in where he wants to go with the ball. I think he will work his butt off. I think his confidence of understanding defenses and the offense will be much better. Can he get the ball there? That's the big question. Again, I haven't seen very many people do it. I think if there was anyone that could do it because of the work ethic, it would be Jalen Hurts, though, because I know he's going to go out there and work hard every day. The expectation is high. The talent level is high. He wouldn't have been in Oklahoma if it wasn't. I mean, Alabama and Oklahoma if it wasn't. There's a reason why he's here. I just need him to take that jump, because this is what we do know. The last 4 teams over the last 10 years, the last 4 teams surviving, 3 out of 4 of those teams had a really good quarterback. Yeah. And our success obviously is going to depend on what Jalen Hurts brings to the table. If he can bring something to the table a little bit better than he did last year, then that changes the conversation of this team. And obviously that's why we're asking the question.
Yeah, but B, I'm of the mindset that even if he doesn't improve significantly in terms of arm strength mechanics, you can manage a game. History has shown that you can be a manager of a game, and if you have enough talent around you, you can win a lot of football games. Mm-hmm. For me, beyond the arm strength, it's decision-making for him, going through the progressions, reading the defense, not being like a rabbit flushed out of a bush and staying in the pocket a little bit longer and wait till one of his receivers frees up and get him the ball instead of taking unnecessary shots. Those are the things that I want to see from a Jalen Hurts, more so than can he throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. Because if he improves on those little things, the other numbers will come.
Well, I hope that's the case, because those things that you're talking about, those are things that I think you can improve on. Those are things that if you see enough defenses, you can say, okay, I know what this defense is. I mean, I just remember, and this is from a running back's perspective, so I'm trying to put it into a quarterback's thought, but when Deuce Staley stayed after practice my rookie year and said, this is a cover 2 shell, and this is a cover 4 shell, and you got to watch the safeties. After a certain amount of reps in practice and in the film room, I started seeing it. And once you start seeing it, that's when the game slows down. Everybody wants the game to slow down. Once the game slows down, and B, you understand, you're at a tackle position, guard position, you start seeing people moving, you already know what's happening. You got to snap this guy and go to the next guy. Exactly. That's generally what happens for quarterbacks too. Now, if he can improve in that way, then now if his anticipation improves, now maybe the arm strength isn't as big of a deal, because he already knows where the defense is at and where he wants to go with the football. So in that aspect, D-Gun, if that's the key factors, I believe he can improve in those factors. I really do. Right. Just over time and reps, I think he can improve, but it's going to take some time. And hopefully, to your earlier point, hopefully the coach keeps the doggone practices on so they have enough time to improve. Because I'll tell you this, and I said this last year, why isn't our quarterback that hasn't really been a true starter in the NFL, why isn't he having preseason reps? Because to me, those reps matter.
Yeah, they do.
And why aren't you doing it in practice as well as the preseason games? To me, I'm still at a loss for that. It's a different time and place. They did this kind of the practices where you go back and forth with the other team. But there's nothing like putting it on a game uniform, walking out on the game field, and getting real game reps.
Well, you know why? Because of the injuries have increased so significantly over the last 5 years. You see more and more teams that are holding their starters out for whole preseason now.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that doesn't blame them for doing that, but for teams that are trying to build, see, when you're a team like Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, you already know what you're getting. You don't need your frontline players because you've got that nucleus. When you're an evolving team,
you just said their coaches, all their coaches make their starters play at least 1.5 preseason games.
But when you're an evolving team, and I know it's a crapshoot, and you're spinning that roulette wheel when you talk about injuries. When you're an evolving team like the Eagles, you need to get those frontline players those game reps before you hit the ground running in a regular season.
I believe that, but I'm old school. Nick Sirianni.
You old. You definitely old.
I looked at Nick Sirianni the other day, and I'm like, how old is this kid? Like, he's just he's beautiful, man.
I did the same thing, man. I looked at bro,
how is he the head coach? How does that happen, right? And so listen, it's a young man's game. I understand it. Different type of philosophy. That's just part of it.
Bro, I looked at when I was up there at camp the other day. I mean, when they were in camp, I looked around like I'm older than just about every coach. Coach Stout, the only guy I'm not older than, in there. I'm like, this is crazy. But man, you're right though. That's how it become hard. That's why it usually takes 4 games for you to know what type of team you are. Those 4 games, after you play in the preseason, you go into 4 games. That's when you gain your identity. That's why it took them until the 8th game to get the identity this year, because they didn't do enough in the preseason and they had to catch up all the way to the 8th game. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm get off my lawn. That's all I'm gonna say. Get off my lawn.
Well, here's the other thing that changed for them. If you go through the preseason and treat it the way that old school players want you to treat it, maybe you see a little bit earlier in the season that Jalen Hurts is just not ready for this heavy passing offense. And maybe you go to the running offense a little bit sooner, and maybe that just changed how things end up in the season. I mean, I don't know, but you end up being one of the best running teams in the league, but you started the first, 5 or 6 games trying to throw the ball. Maybe you learned that in the preseason, like, hey, this ain't going to work. We need to do something different for our quarterback. And maybe he gains a different type of confidence, and that changes how the season plays itself out. I mean, it can go a lot of different ways, but perhaps that actually happens.
What a great point. What a great point. Brian, before we get you out of here, we appreciate a couple minutes today, man. Yeah. I know you're a big Sixers fan, and you've watched everything unfold with Simmons, and Harden's here. Apparently he's going to do him a little favor on the front end here and allow him to make some moves. Just what are your thoughts generally kind of where they're at right now?
I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you. I love Joel Embiid. Think he's a great player. I mean, I don't want to argue this point, but I think it's just the truth. It's hard to win when you're built around a center. I just think in our league right now, there's no other teams that are having the success that we need to have that are built like that. So you got to build around guards, in my opinion. You're going to bring James Harden back. You still need another. You still need somebody else. Now, I was just with Tyrese Maxey this weekend too. You still need another guy. And if you can't find that guy, I think we're back to the same point that we were last year. No matter how good Harden is, Harden could be 32 a game. I still think we're a guy short if we don't add another guy. I love the one thing that I was a great bright spot last season. I saw Tyrese Maxey develop into a guy that started to make me think that he may be that guy that I'm talking about. And so now if he is, they have to add some more weapons off the bench and things like that. But I still think they're a guy short. And when you talk about some of the firepower in this league, if you don't have 3, or unless you got somebody special, obviously Steph Curry is special, unless you have someone extremely special, it's just hard to win and get out of that second round if you don't have 3 guys that can go and do it.
Hey, Ryan, B, how's the horse farm doing?
The horse farm is great, man. I'm in Brooklyn now, but we're headed now to Maryland this weekend to check on all the babies. It's hot. It's hot down there. It's all grass, no shade. It's hot down there. But again, that's a labor of love, man. That's my relaxed time. That's my peaceful time. I'm going to get down there and go fishing. I know you boys know about fishing. I'll be seeing the post, the big fish.
Oh, forget it. Fishing and grilling, Brian. Fishing and grilling, man.
Look, I don't know who caught those fish. I just see everybody taking a picture with the same fish.
Look at D-Grad's background, Brian. Look at those fake fish that he has.
Look at that, man. Look at that. There you go.
Look at those babies back there.
Look, anytime you want to go, man.
Yeah, all I know, he's been lying to me for 5 years talking about D-Gun, let's go fishing. and then they'll tell me I'll have my people call your people. I ain't heard from his people yet.
Hey, listen. Speaking of lying,
here we go.
Have you ever seen D-Gun on the grill pictures? You seen the pictures, right? You
Good
never
point.
seen a video of him actually doing anything on the grill.
Yes.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you right now. This whole grill scene, this is all fake. It's a facade. His wife is actually on the grill. He's pretending that he's on the grill. I don't know what's going on.
That is a great point.
I see if you turn around, if you pan around a panoramic view, you'll see the styrofoam boxes that he went to. You know, he went to a restaurant and got it.
Exactly.
B West just mad because I haven't gotten them ribs yet.
I don't know, man. I think he just uncovered something. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mrs. Gunn. If you want some chocolate chip cookies,
that's right.
Tell it. Mrs. Gunn.
Tell it.
Man. Brian,
hey, man,
good,
we appreciate
good stuff.
it, bro.
Way to expose their gun too.
Rob, before I go, we even got him to try. Now, Brian, I still can't get over this. He refuses to eat Reese cups. He can't fathom peanut butter with chocolate. So I even got him to eat one of my wife's chocolate chip cookies with a Reese on top of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's stubborn. He wouldn't admit it. Well, he admitted it reluctantly. You know, this is pretty good, but I can't eat peanut butter with chocolate. So come on, man.
Reese's, listen, chocolate and peanut butter don't go together.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. We've been fighting this for a year
today because of that.
Oh my God, Brian, great stuff, man. Thanks for a couple minutes, man. It's good catching up with you.
Yeah,
Take
man.
care.
All right, you got it. How about he's called you out for your grilling too, man? He's unbelievable.
Oh man, I'm surprised he didn't do it early. First, D-Gun, where my ribs?
Oh God, Barrett, great kid, man. That was fun catching up with
bro.
Brian.
I mean, it's the stream, man. The stream put pressure on me, man. Like, when is Barrett going to get something, man?
And those
you
guys
got the stream in cahoots with you, bro.
I know they don't play around. That's
Rob, man. I ain't do it better than Rob. I ain't do it.
Mean streets. Yeah, I was good. Look, great insights, man. About practice, about
awesome insights.
Hurts, about Miles Sanders. Man, a lot going. You know, and Brian shoots it straight. He's not a homer, man. And he gave you some areas that really concern him. You know, about this team. So really interesting stuff, man. There for sure. All right, we're gonna be wrapping a little bit early. We got a couple minutes before we have to get out of here, but we're gonna be wrapping it up a little bit early today because we're blowing right through breaks, man. We don't even play around. You guys didn't even know that. We didn't even take
We don't mess around, man. We don't need breaks on this show, man. We got us.
Exactly.
CMB.
Appreciate
all we got.
Appreciate that showtime. Appreciate it, man. Came through today, man.
See that?
Blood, man.
You know what he said?
Give Barrett some love, man.
He said today.
Today. Yeah, today was the key
got
word.
Al Wallace the other day.
It's true.
Okay, you got two. I'll give you two.
It's not right. That is not right, man. And by the way, I agree with everything Brian said, except for chocolate and peanut butter do go together. I mean, let's be real. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, Rob, you're not the one though, man. I tell you, man, I work with this dude every day for 2.5 years, and every day in the morning time, he bring Cheerios, dry Cheerios in a bag, and he'd be munching on dry Cheerios and a water.
What is wrong with you?
And a water,
it's
dry
sad.
Cheerios, and
it's
a
really
water.
sad. I mean, it's
why that is sad, man.
There's deep studies need to be done on.
Are you the kind of dude that eats a steak or chicken with no seasoning on it? Are you one of those dudes?
I can eat it that way.
No, heck no.
I can.
Heck no. No.
I prefer.
No.
I'm not. No. You know what? I'm not a big like. No. You know, like. Especially with like people, pineapple. You don't need to get nuts with things like pizza.
No, I agree with that.
Pizza stands alone by itself. I don't need 1,000 different things on pizza.
All I want is sausage and pepperoni, and I'm good. Maybe some mushrooms.
And people do these weird things with bacon. Give me bacon and peanut butter. I'm like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? I like these things by themselves. They're good.
Right. You don't let your food touch on the plate, do you?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah.
See, you can't sit down at my dinner table, dude. You can't, man.
First of all, you couldn't fit enough. It'd be so much food that they'd cook so many varieties that you couldn't have a plate big enough for it. You know, you'd have to make 5 or 6 trips.
My dad used to purposely drive me nuts. So he'd get mashed potatoes and he would get every other thing he was eating in his meal and he'd drop them into the mashed potatoes and mix it all up and just start pounding it down because it knew it drove me nuts. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he did it every meal. Man. Oh, this is so good this way. It's all going down the same place.
It's true. It is true. Are you one of these people that you have to have your food separated, dude? Seriously?
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah.
I know
That's
so
why
many people like that.
I don't
too.
like it touching.
Isn't it going to the same place?
It is.
I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I get the bowl, man. The bowl is the mashed potatoes, gravy,
Yes.
corn,
Yes.
all that in one, and
Yes.
the chicken on top, all
Look,
in one thing.
I'm the weirdo. I'm the first one to tell you, man. Like I am not
Oh my
normal.
goodness, man.
You guys are normal. I'm an outcast. I am a weirdo, man. I'm the outlier.
We got to convert him, Barrett. We got
know.
some conversions to do here, man.
Bro,
know.
he did not. I'm talking about every day, man, for 2.5 years. The same exact thing. He never
Tried
strayed away from-
Cheerios?
No
Fried
milk.
Cheerios.
Yeah,
no
I would
milk.
eat them out of a sandwich bag. I would just eat them out of a sandwich.
Where did you come up with
What a
this?
water. What a water.
Yeah,
With the water.
Look, we don't have enough time. We're out of time.
But that's why he weighs $155.
Right.
True.
Eat dry Cheerios.
It's
Me,
true.
I got to have fruit on it, sugar,
I
something.
know.
I can't eat no dry
I know.
Cheerios.
Believe
man.
me,
Can't do it.
I've been taking heat for a long time. That's all right.
Golly,
All right. So
man.
tomorrow, guys. So 2 things to remember for tomorrow. Number 1, well, guest wise, we're gonna have Jeremiah Trotter, which I think we're all pumped. We can't wait for that. But that's at 1:30. We're gonna be at Ocean Casino Resort tomorrow for the grand opening of their new sports book. Okay, so we'll be on location. If you're headed down the shore, if you're in Atlantic City, if you're in Sea Isle, if you're in Avalon, whatever, stop on over, hang out with us, get a chance to see some of our friends here. We love that, but we're excited about tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great way to kick off 4th of July weekend and close out the week on a Friday, man. It's going to be a
I
blast.
don't have food. I'm leaving. If there ain't no food, I'm out.
Gunner's already put the word out. Yes.
I'm out.
He's out of there.
Some food.
So take care of us with some grub. All right. So Barrett, great job getting B West. Gunner, great job as always. Want to thank our producer, Xander Kraus. Excellent work out of Xander. Again, tomorrow, 1:30, Jeremiah Trotter. Thanks to everybody on the stream, everybody listening, everybody in the comment section. See you guys tomorrow at the same time. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports Media. We out.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, I fake a mom. Mama go up,
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.